Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jump Sessions. There has been a big blunder with this episode because we accidentally clicked on a button called the FTB. So the entire episode, audio was recorded. Unfortunately, the video was not recorded. Still, I feel the podcast went incredibly well. You can see Weng Keong is on the other side of the camera. So I'm making this apology because I feel like, it's our blunder. We should have checked. But then again, this is like a really complicated program type of thing. The buttons are all over the place, but we hope that you enjoy the podcast as much as we enjoyed this conversation. I still think if you were to Google the models of the watches, you would still be able to look at it via Google Images. I put in a few clips as well so that you can have a look during that part of the podcast. I hope you guys understand mistakes happen, but hopefully we don't repeat this mistake again. I hope you guys enjoy the podcast lah. That's all I can do. Welcome back to Yamcha Sessions. Today we have Weng Keong and Denson on the podcast.
Hey,
yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
It has been a hot second for Weng Keong. I think the last time you were on the podcast it was 2020. It's quite crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and at that time I remember I asked you why you were wearing that shirt and you were saying, "Oh, I'm kind of getting into watches." And here you are today with Denson, with this whole new movement.
Yep.
Right? So Weng Keong reached out and he was like, "Hey, you should come to the podcast talk about watches." I'm like, "Sure, man. Let's talk about watches, man, for sure." But before we go into it, I want to talk to Denson about how you got into watches first, and then after that, Weng Keong, how you got into watches. Because we know your past already, Weng Keong.
Right? I know, my sordid past.
But at the same time, I feel right, that podcast, the audio quite shit, And like, every time I go back to it, I'm like, wow, it's so hard to listen to that compared to now.
Okay, because most of the things that were coming out of my mouth were shit anyway. So it's good if people didn't hear
It was mutual, both of us. So I don't know what we were doing also actually technically.
So I was viewer at the time. So the history was that anytime when I listened to his old podcast, I would download it just so that I tweaked the audio.
Before you can bear to hear it.
Yeah. So the episode was great, man. Learned a lot of wisdom.
It was crazy wisdom. Your wisdom until today, I still hold. But you know what's so sad? That time I should have just paid 500 ringgit more for additional 2 more mics. Do you remember that shit? We had to share a mic.
Yeah, that's right.
What the fuck, man?
What? We live and learn, man.
Yeah, I gave there 3%, one mic. In front of an acoustic board just so that we get good quality. It was so awkward.
At least you had the foresight for good quality, bro. Okay. Denson, maybe you can talk about what industry you were in, how you got into it, and then how you moved into watches.
All right. Okay. Quite a big difference to what I'm doing full time.
For sure.
Yeah. So actually, I'm in pest control.
Oh wow!
So if
Shoot.
you guys do not know what pest control is, it's basically catching the rats,
Oh.
catching the cockroaches.
Okay.
So it's very
Okay.
interesting when someone asks you, actually, what do you do actually? Oh yeah, I catch the rats. I spray the cockroaches.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And it's your own company type
Yeah,
thing
it's
and
a
all
family
that.
business for the past 45 years actually.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
45
Oh, I
years.
didn't know that. 45 years.
45.
45 years. What's the name of the company? if you don't
Pipe
mind?
Piper.
Pipe Piper.
You know
Wow.
the story of Pipe Piper
Of course, I
handling?
know Pipe Piper. The guy brings and then he leads the rats
that's
out of the city.
Story of the company. The logo is the guy with the trumpet.
Oh
And
wow!
we in the company in the office we do actually have my mom actually collected the fairy tales. There's different generations. There are
Oh.
books from the 1950s. There's books from the 1990s, and everything is about the Pipe Piper of Hamelin.
That is
wow.
damn interesting, man.
So this is that is my full time because this is becoming my full time right now.
Wait, so
nice.
that was your full time, but are you doing 2 full times then?
Now
It's
it
doing
is
3
now
full
it
times?
is full-time dad.
Okay.
Honestly, this guy, he's insane. I don't know how he packs his days. It's crazy. He's a full-time dad, hands-on, yeah. Not like full-time is, I work at home, so I'm with my kids. No, full-time.
So technically you kind of like work from home, but when you need to go office or you need to count team some stuff, then you go and do and everything.
Correct.
Bring the kids also
The kids to the
shop.
office.
Huh?
Yeah. So during MCO, when I first knew about with WK, I bring the kids to the office, and once I'm done there, I'll meet him for lunch in PJ. Then once the kid is ready to go for nap, then all right, finish work, bring the kid back for nap. They will say our goodbyes, and I think we did that for 3 times a week.
Yeah.
You bring the kid back. Oh my lord.
So you must be like
amazing.
super organized and super
No,
effective.
super messy. My wife is
Really?
the organized one.
Oh.
Wow. Damn, bro. How many hours of sleep do you get a day?
Oh, enough.
Enough.
Enough,
What kind of freaking answer is that, bro? Enough.
Enough, yeah.
So usually a more organized person, right? They kind of know hour by hour what they're going to be doing and what the other person have to be doing, or what are the preparations needed just so that the next task can be fulfilled. But for a non-organized person, is it more like, you know
Feels,
what? I just improvise as I go. I firefight. Is it
I
something
would
like that?
say for the last 4 years, it's all I'm improvising as I go. Yeah. I think thankfully it's also that my mom is quite chill
Ah.
over this family business and side hustle thing. And being a full-time dad as well. So I think the parent side and the family side plays a very big part. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes parents will be like, oh, you should be doing a real full-time job, one which gives you
Money or
money.
like big money.
yeah, big money.
That's
and,
what Asians always say.
or a
yeah.
profession, or a profession. Like
mm.
if someone wants to brag about your kid, like, oh, he's a lawyer or he's an
Yeah.
engineer. But I am glad that I did not have that mindset. Like, I'm proud to say that in Chinese, I would say, 我是抓老鼠, which basically means I catch the rats. Yeah. So it's up to you whether you think it's a real job or it's not a real job. But that is
Wow,
how.
that is
how it
hardcore.
is.
And your mom started the business?
My dad.
Oh, your dad started business. Oh, damn. 45. And how long have you been working in the company?
7.
7 years? Oh, that's shit. That's almost the same as me.
7
Oh,
years,
damn,
so-
bro. I've been working in my mom's company like for 8 years now. Crazy.
Any friction with the family,
Bro.
I feel you.
If there is no friction, I feel right, you're not moving the needle also.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of times when they
very
like
true.
every time I go to overseas and they ask, oh, family business, how is it? I'm like, honestly, not easy. But at least, I find a lot of appreciation that I can spend time with my family before I die.
Yeah.
You
correct.
spend more time with your family before you die, which is something I think of as a bonus.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay. So before we go into Weng Keong, how did you get into watches first?
I would say it's in uni days.
Uni days.
Uni
Shoot,
days. So
okay.
that was 2011 or 12. 2012.
2012.
Back in the UK, people were talking about
Back when Man United was good. Yeah. But okay.
back when Liverpool was shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I have my friends, talking about Rolexes, talking about the very expensive stuff where during that time you wouldn't even think of spending that money
Yeah.
on something on your wrist. And it's not like how the market is right now. I'm pretty sure even if you guys are not into watches, if you go to a kopitiam, people will be like, hey, go buy a Rolex, can earn money. You should buy a Submariner, you earn money for sure.
Yeah.
These are all the common talks where you hear in the kopitiam or, just with your friends. So
Yeah.
back then it wasn't like this. Everybody was like, oh, it's everywhere. You can get a Rolex from any shop.
Yeah. But
So-
now,
No, yeah. So that time my friends was like, oh, you should get it lah, get one, graduation, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't get a Rolex. I didn't have the money to get a Rolex.
oh
So
shit.
I got
okay.
a OK watch.
You want to say what model it was?
I got a very simple Cartier.
Okay.
Yeah. I got
Oh,
very simple
okay.
Very, very simple. The cheapest one in the boutique. I still remember I walk in, I said, I want a graduation watch and I want the cheapest one on your catalog. And they
Okay.
were very nice. They gave me like a discount and everything.
Did they judge you when you asked for something?
Maybe. Yeah.
I get constantly judged now. And I walk into a watch store when I wear an Apple Watch. They look at you and be like, just a fucking cunt. I'm like, oh wow, damn.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't. A lot
But
of-
they 100% do.
But a lot of people who are really wealthy, but they don't want to set an expectation of what they're willing to spend. When they go and buy a watch, they wear an Apple Watch.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh,
Because
with
it's
the
like
market is not
level-
evolved.
Level playing field, right?
Oh.
So nobody knows, like, they cannot prejudge your taste or whatever. So you're really just there to look. You wear
Yeah.
Apple Watch.
I walk in those shops, right, and I see those people working there. I see them as just another fellow Malaysian. So I kind of like put my perspective, it's like, what would they be going through? I was wondering if these retail salesperson, are they also loaded? Highly doubt that, right? Which means they're going to be paid by the hour. So I don't think they're actually judging
they are.
people.
Yeah.
They're loaded?
No, they are not.
Yeah, they're not loaded. So
Huh.
I see them as Malaysians more as like going into this very atas place and then they're judging you.
They don't earn by commission if you sell a watch or whatever.
I'm sure they do, but I think like the thing is, it depends on the kind of brand, the store that you walk into. So if you walk into like a Rolex or an AP or or even Cartier,
That one is
obviously you are
commission,
serving very wealthy customers. So I don't know whether through they absorb that sort of
air of them,
persona
right?
and that air, and also the thing is that for brands where the watches are actually very hard to get. Because they're always sold out, the high in demand models are always gone. So you have to be somebody. So they lansi lah,
Ah.
That's
where it comes from.
So they lansi lah. Oh, you want to buy that? No lah, don't have.
I feel it's an international occurrence now. right now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, so like before the pandemic, I'll jump in a bit. Before the pandemic, my mom was also keen on buying like a nice Rolex. Walking around Switzerland, can feel like there's a touch of racism in the air. Andrew can attest to this. He's behind the camera today, right? You see, thumbs up. There's an air of racism in Switzerland. Then after that, after pandemic, things, I don't know whether you guys agree, it vamped up like shit like that. Every Rolex now, all you see are people looking at their phones inside the Rolex boutique only. Because when you go in and you want to buy a Rolex, there's no Rolex for sale. There's always this like, oh, sorry, no stock.
It's a bit better. I mean, the pandemic was the perfect storm, but people were at home. They had disposable income they couldn't spend on holidays.
Yep.
Their crypto investments were going through the roof.
Yep.
So people had money. So that drove demand.
Mm-hmm.
Demand killed the supply.
Ah.
Right? And so it was like the perfect storm now. But it's come back down. Rolexes now are not where they used to be 2 years ago or even 3 years ago. They're back to like pre-pandemic kind of times now, which is still expensive and it's still over retail. Blah, blah.
It is mad.
They're still lancy.
They're still lancy. Yeah, man.
Lancy.
So you got your first Cartier, right, Denson?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you allowed
You
to?
paid for it yourself.
Yeah.
Wow, fucking baller, bro.
It's not
Graduation was
as, it's not
supposed to be
as
gift from
crazy
parents.
as
How much?
okay, I can tell now it was 7,000 ringgit. Not too crazy, as a watch guy,
But 7,000 ringgit in 2012?
it was 1,000 pounds, which is
Oh, okay,
your
okay.
allowance. If you
Okay.
were to save up like
save,
100 pounds per month,
It's doable.
it's doable. Yeah, it
That's
is doable.
true. That's true.
And
Actually,
in the grand scheme of
Yeah.
watch prices,
yeah,
it's actually entry level.
It's very entry level.
yeah, that's true.
So can I just kind of maybe jump the gun a
Yeah,
bit,
for
just
sure.
because we're over here, right? Like, what is it that you enjoy about that watch? So I'm a very non-sentimental and non-collector kind of guy, so I don't really like any of this thing. But when you buy a 7,000 watch, right? I know and I understand the purpose of that watch. I'm not gonna be ignorant and say, oh, you can tell time. You always look at your phone. You will always know time, right? But what is it really that you are trying to do with that 7,000 Cartier?
That's okay.
Whoa.
Wow, very very deep.
What is it supposed to
Gotta
do?
search your soul, bro.
All right. If you were to ask me this question 10 years ago when I got it, and if you ask me now, it would totally be a very different answer.
Okay.
At that time, it was you just graduated. You have, I wouldn't say low self-esteem, but you have to there's a stereotype like if
Yeah.
you're going to corporate, you should be wearing a
Ah.
presentable watch. And Rolexes, they were at that time a lot of money as well. So Cartier was it's a brand.
But hold up, I'm so sorry. You catch rats. What corporate are you talking about?
Oh, that time you haven't joined yet, lah.
Yeah, before I went back to the family business, I was in Hong Kong for
corporate.
Oh, okay.
I was in Hong Kong for 2 years before a lot of things you don't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so when I graduated, I went to Hong Kong to work for 2 years.
I get it. Hong Kong, then I
Yeah,
get it.
so
What industry was it?
I was an investment banker.
Oh, shit, no wonder
you gotta do that.
hell?
Yeah.
And then you stopped doing that, and now you're doing this shit. This shit with you.
Oh.
But if you ask me now, I would say it doesn't really matter. You don't need that. You don't need that thing to prove a point.
Yeah.
Even when you're starting, because at that time there's no Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Even now, Apple Watch, there's nothing to look down on Apple Watch. Apple Watch is like you're health conscious.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
100%.
That's that perception for sure.
But I do disagree. It's like when you're in your 30s, right, and you are in your early 40s,
Sorry, now
Late 30s, early 40s.
late 30s.
Early 30s,
Early 30s? Shit, are you 92?
94.
Oh, shit, bro.
Oh,
My perception is like this guy got atas watches. I thought it's like late 30s, bro.
my perception is he has kids and I haven't. So anyways, what I want to say, shit, I lost my point. What is the point? Oh, so, if you're at 30s, 40s or 50s, right, you can be completely nobody wears a wife beater, right? And you can still feel confident. But when you're in your 20s, right, you can't do that. You just can't be like,
You can if you're poige. You got overconfident. You can. I'm just saying you can. But oh yeah, I get the point.
But in corporate, no, man. No matter what they say, the first thing they're gonna do is that they're gonna tease you. Hey, they sick man, leng zai.
Is it?
That's it.
That time when I joined corporate, I was in Ogilvy. Not really lah. Maybe it's just because I was
Agencies,
Agencies are different.
completely different animal. lah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you're talking about like a bank,
Yeah.
a law firm,
Yeah. The flex in the
Consulting
agency is
firm.
how late you leave. That's the real flex.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or how late you come in.
Or whether did you sleep the night before or not?
Yeah, that's the real flex. It's not a watch. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
First
sorry.
Cartier. Okay.
Yeah, let's go back to your perspective then.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, the corporate environment, you want to have something presentable. And it's a graduation thing. So for me, so this is where we are totally opposite. I'm a very sentiment guy. I like to put sentiments into physical
Do you
objects.
still hold on to your first watch?
Yeah, I do. So we had this conversation every month or every year. We have this conversation. Like he always asks me, why you want to put sentiments into watches? Because if you sell the watch, you still remember the memories.
You can take a photo, I guess.
Yeah, you kind of don't forget about the memories of
sentiment,
graduation if you sell your first watch.
Yeah.
For me, and for me, I don't know whether it's true or not. I've also tell him a lot of times. I would like to. The watches are stories I want to share with my kids. Yeah, so everything which I've kept until now, you don't know how many there is.
Yeah.
They are all for the kids lah. Yeah,
That's a very Patek Philippe branding type thing going on.
It's really for the kids. Yeah, we have personally a lot of the watches is I hope the kids are into it. Honestly, it's not an investment thing. It's not an asset thing.
You want to hand
Just
it
that,
over.
Yeah, sometimes when my daughter is 4 and my son is 2, so the daughter is developing some interest in watches. Like, oh, Papa, this one is what? Papa, this one.
Oh.
So it's like a thing we can communicate. Maybe 10 years later, they say, Papa, I want to sell everything to buy a car. I wouldn't know that. But for now, this is my memory. So,
I see.
yeah, so from graduation until right now, so it's around 10 to 12 years. I believe I've bought one for
Each year.
each year with a special occasion in mind lah. It's not. It might be a lame occasion,
But
maybe
it's a memory lah.
Yeah, maybe that time I went to Japan with my kids. I said, oh, first travel with my kids, I buy one lah.
Wow.
Then the time first time driving with the kids in Japan. Then
Oh my lord, you are just creating shit already lah. Do this one at this point lah. But I would have totally done the same.
Yeah. So this is my take because, like you say, you are not so sentiment into putting to objects. But for me, it's I go all out for this type of.
Yeah, I share the same feeling.
I flush a Japanese toilet. Who will buy it?
You don't want to know the lamest lah, but the good ones are like, my first kid, when my daughter was born, and the day I remember what watch I was wearing, or when my son was born, then my wife didn't came out for like 3 hours. I remember
The stress and
one of the watches which I wore a Solar Beat Tank, which is also a Cartier, but it requires sunlight to run.
Oh
So
shit.
I didn't wear the watch for a very long time. And I wore that watch when my wife was giving birth.
So you couldn't tell the time.
Yeah, because when
Oh my lord, that was
the
a
doctor told me my wife would be inside for 40 minutes. 2 hours, my wife didn't come out. And I didn't know the time.
But you got your phone at the time.
That
sounded like
But the metaphor, I get it. I get it.
Why isn't she getting pushed out? Then I have to take my watch, I put it at the
I mean, yeah, you could.
I put it at the spotlight only when then the watch jump, Then
I see.
this is a very good story. I always tell my wife, I said, wow, you go inside for 3 hours, I panic, no. Then my watch not working, like bloody hell, what's happening?
What was your wife's response? I gotta know.
Way too extra.
I do share the feelings of sentiment. Sometimes I also don't know why I keep this stupid shit. And then after that, like I find that there are things that I have more sentiment than others. So I can let go of certain things that have less sentiment. So that's how I weigh. Otherwise, I'm going to be a hoarder lah, bro.
Not even for watches, my toys when I was 5 years old, 6 years old, I have all until now.
My
Yeah,
God.
so you remember in the 90s, when you collected Snoopy, McDonald's?
Yeah.
I I wanted to have 2 sets, one which I can play and another which I keep it in a pristine box.
Dude, what?
So I kept everything. My wife is complaining every single. Yeah, he knows lah. Yeah, so
Definitely got the collector gene.
yeah. Hot.
But I think it's quite Malaysian. Actually, yeah. You go to MCOT Mall on the weekend. Yeah, that's basically everybody that's like that huge.
Correct.
Like I really need to have that complete Coca-Cola year 2020 Tokyo Olympics collect. Doesn't make sense, man.
I used to keep all the World Cup Coca-Cola.
There you go. Yeah, you see.
And then it leaks, it rusts through the
Yeah.
can.
My sister had that because she had like the whole Pepsi collection, and then my
Correct.
mom was complaining, and after a while,
It will leak.
the can will leak. Yeah.
Oh my lord.
It ate through the
the
acid ate through the plastic lining and the aluminum.
And if you don't know, right, and if you didn't know it's leaking, right, then it will eat through the furniture as well.
No.
It does. It's like gooey acid. It's like gooey acid.
Yeah.
Like
So the
it melts
wood,
through the thing,
the wood is like disgusting.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I have a Coca-Cola 2021.
Better check it.
Yeah.
Use a pin, poke 2 pin and let it leak out.
So I know a lot of people would say it's like what I'm saying is like kind of ridiculous. But if you're gonna collect something like that, right? Why don't you just open it and drink it and then just keep the can?
You could. But sometimes it's the liquid inside that you wanna, because you're a bit crazy lah. You open the can, it's 2020 air,
That's insane. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Okay, what about you, Weng Keong? So you were in advertising for the longest time.
Yeah.
Then after that, you went into retirement. But then somehow you got into watches. And that was, I think, just when you came on the podcast the first time, right?
Yeah, it was. I was quite early in that journey at that time. I mean, like I come from a different era. You know?
Okay. You didn't even have any expression when you say that. I do recall one story, I don't know where you mentioned it before, about how, remember you and David, when you all started Arachne or something like that, and then David said you should go get a watch, and then you didn't think about it.
Okay, I'll tell that story. I mean, I come from a different era, obviously, 1800s. And back then, like, to be a gentleman, you need a watch. A gentleman needs a watch, right? It doesn't have to be an expensive watch or a fine watch or whatever, but you're not complete without a watch. So I kind of like grew up like that with that notion So I think like I got my first watch from my parents when I was maybe standard 1, standard 2.
Wow, you can remember them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't remember what the watch is, but it doesn't matter. But that's where the theme comes back, right? So yeah, I got a watch, and it was like for me coming of age kind of thing, because like your parents take you to a watch shop. I remember the watch shop. I remember the lighting in the shop, everything, Picked out a watch with the help of my father. Actually, he picked it out for me. Felt like a big boy, bro. You know what I mean? Like you walk out, it's like
this is standard 1, standard 2.
Yeah, standard 1, standard 2. Because then you're grown up because you got a watch.
Okay.
Right? So I sort of like grew up like that. But after that, that watch, I never wound it. I was always late, then lost it, broke it, whatever. And then through the years, there were like Swatch, Casio digital watches, things like that.
G-Shock.
Through school. I never had a G-Shock.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, until like a few years ago.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then started work. And then when you start work, like you say, you need a proper grown-up watch. So I couldn't wear my Swatch and all that anymore. I bought a Tag Heuer because back then in the 90s, everybody buys a Tag Heuer, right?
I think today still, sometimes...
For sure, yeah. So then I had a Tag Heuer, and then like over the years, the Tag Heuer is quite sporty. But anyway, the Tag Heuer, I broke it because I went scuba diving.
Jesus. Oh my Lord.
Didn't screw down the crown properly, flooded.
Yeah.
So then over the years, you got to buy something that will go okay with like a suit and tie, for certain occasions, because like a sports watch is not so appropriate, blah, blah. And then like people like David, senior management team, we make targets or whatever. Like David's a much more of a watch guy than
really?
back then.
Oh wow!
But now I think I'm more insane than he is. But he would say, hey, we meet our targets. I want to celebrate and buy a watch. So come along, help me choose whatever. And then I would come along, and then while he's doing that, I would look at all the shelves and like, hey, they're quite nice. How much is that? Wow, too much. And then bargain.
Oh my Lord.
And then like get 30% off and think like I'm like super, like wow, I'm so good at this.
This is, I'm assuming, not at like those full branded, like only Tag, only.
No, like Hang Tai,
like Cortina,
like
Water Time. Okay.
Those kind of places lah. So then like over the years, through my working life, I had quite a few watches lah.
Because targets have been
came from like this kind of things lah, and they were all sort of like milestone watches as well, because like, this year we hit our first billion or whatever, right? So then I retired, and by then I was wearing the Apple Watch a lot because I was like trying to get fit and all that.
Yeah.
And then all those watches, they just sat in the drawer lah. I'm like, there's money there, I wonder how much I can get back for it if I were to sell it, because I don't wear them anymore.
Yeah.
I put them on, I don't even like them anymore. So like, why keep them, right?
That is exactly what I'm going through right now.
It's sentiment lah, So like for years, I didn't sell. And then eventually I was like, fuck it, just sell.
2020 was the year, I'm assuming.
No, actually I started
2019.
selling in 2018, 2019.
Oh shit, okay.
So sell. And then of course, when you want to sell, you have to know how much to sell for, who to sell to, where to sell, Like what is this watch even? Because that time don't know anything about watches, just buy because it looks nice. So then I started doing research and then I went down the rabbit hole about watches. I started researching about watches and all that, So I said like, okay, but I don't like these watches anymore. I should still sell them, get some money back. And then with that money, I'll buy myself one watch, which of course never happens once you are down the rabbit hole, right? So like for now, for me, I'm a very sentimental person. And I do attach
Then said I side-eyeing each other because you gave me this whole talk about I'm not sentimental one, I sell new one. And now you sure you're sentimental.
No.
Okay.
So I'll qualify that, right? I am actually sentimental about a lot of things. But I realize that sentimentality is insight.
Yeah.
It's not an object.
Unless you have dementia and then you start to forget. But okay. Okay.
But the object has nothing to do with your memories. So the sentimentality should be about occasions, experiences,
Definitely.
people, a time in your life, an achievement, whatever. And I guarantee you will not forget those things.
Yeah, that's how I feel as well. I agree. I don't associate and attach it to objects as well.
Yeah, because the object, right? If those things I never sold, I would not have opened up so many more new experiences and gotten into the hobby. And
That's true.
And met assholes like this. Like so many things wouldn't have opened up.
Yeah.
Right. So now I don't let the object dictate the
sentiment.
the sentiment or the memory because they're not the same. It's a very common thing in watch world where they say like these are memory holders. I call BS on that lah.
Yeah, I totally agree, man.
You know what I mean? Like you can remember things with or without these things.
I can somehow agree with this, right? But at the same time, right, I find there are things that I regret letting go. And I still regret it. That's the thing, And I hate regret. I think that's like one of the things in my life I just choose not to hold on to. But these core things, like I remember my first watch, right? It was actually a Swatch. It was a leather strap, blue face, or dial, I don't know what you call it, but it's like a blue face. My mom gave it to me and she said, this watch is from your Kong Kong. And FYI, right, my Kong Kong passed away already,
Right.
My Kong Kong passed away when my mom was like 15 or some shit like that. I don't know whether it was a Swatch, but I remember she said something, it's like Kong Kong's one. Then I'm like, shit, man. She said, I'm going to give it to you because you grow up already. I'm like, wow. Same feeling,
Yeah.
Same feeling, That time also, I feel like, wow, get to wear a watch. So I wore this watch everywhere, man. I had like a tan line on it, dude. I never took it off, man. It even smelled funky, But I'm like, fuck it. This is my Kong Kong's watch. But my mom's one is my watch. Then I went hiking and I never took it off. So I went hiking one day. I thought, wow, the smell is thorough, man. I gotta wash it. I washed it.
Worse.
The river just took it away.
Oh my God.
Till today, I still think about that moment in which I was not strong enough to hold on to that watch, or how I was an idiot to wear that.
See, you remember everything, right?
I remember it's visceral, dude.
You don't have to watch it, you still remember
I can even remember like the leeches on my leg, how it smelled so fucking bad on my wrist. Every time I move my hand forward, I smell a little whiff of it. I'm like, wow, I need to wash this shit, man. But I lost it and I just think about it so much. So that part of me still lives in me. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I mean,
really-
so like now if I don't attach the memories and milestones or whatever to watches, why do I still like them, right? To your original question.
But it's more experiences for you, technically.
For me, it's like I am really into the romance of watchmaking. The fact that you have an inanimate object sitting on the table, which is made out of gears and springs and levers, that if you put it together in a particular way, comes to life
It tells
and
you.
keeps time.
Yeah. That's what
It's
Ian
pretty
says
damn
also.
amazing. No battery, like it's
It's a spring that
it's
is
a bunch of
moved
springs
by-
and gears.
Yeah, that is moved
It's
by
something
movement.
that was made hundreds of years ago, but of course that we've perfected over time.
Yeah.
And these things will remain for hundreds of years more.
Probably.
because they are infinitely serviceable, fixable, replaceable. You know, it's just so romantic.
I was on this camp, I think maybe 2 years ago, where I felt like I would not even have much appreciation for things that cost so much because it doesn't make any sense to me lah. So for example, right, like it wouldn't brain to me why I would purchase something that is extravagant amounts to tell me the time, for example. I wouldn't, even Pokemon cards, right? A lot of them will be like paying like 10, 20K for like a whole set of this and all that. And then my friend bought me a booster box on my wedding, and then suddenly I'm down this hole buying Pokemon cards. And I can understand why there's a sort of sentiment. It's kind of like wine, it's kind of like art, it's kind of like
Cars, whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's a lot of
championship
things.
belts. Yeah. It's pretty much the same thing.
he's into wrestling, that's why. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I suppose, do you remember the watch that you bought after you sold all your watches?
Yeah, of course.
What watch was it?
It was Seiko SKX.
Is that why you wore that shirt?
That was the shirt with the hands on it. Yeah.
Oh.
It's like I wanted something like cheap, right? Because that was like 1,000 ringgit, but it's mechanical. You know, it's got great history. It's got sort of an iconic status in watch world. I thought like, I just need one enough.
But
I
you
wanna have
went
a
deep
mechanical
into it after getting it, or did you?
No, before getting
Oh, that's
it.
a fancy looking watch.
It's a dive watch. One of Japan's greatest hits
Oh yeah.
over the last, I would say, 60 years.
It is quite
One of the most iconic watches.
007. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
It's honestly quite difficult for me to differentiate Seiko watches because every time I go into a Seiko watch, even when I go to Japan, they almost look all the same to me.
Because they make so many.
Oh yeah. And
I mean, like, it's good that they have a consistent design language, but because they make so many, they iterate on it so much that it's like, it's confusing lah.
it is, man.
It's like if you smell like 10 different perfumes at the counter,
All of them
you
will
won't be
start
able to
to-
tell the difference.
Yeah, you start to feel like it's just the brand that smells this way, that type of thing.
Even then, like, I think you would not be able to identify the fifth or the sixth.
Yeah, they have to make you have to smell coffee beans before you move on to the next smell already.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same effect, but it's visual lah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I bought that, I was like, oh, yo, but very thick.
Oh no.
I want something thinner.
Then
Then
did
I'm
you
just-
you sold it?
I kept it for maybe like a couple of years.
Oh. Then no more sentiment.
That's when he became an
There was
asshole.
never any sentiment towards the watch.
Okay.
But you know, it's like now I think like if I don't love the watch anymore, why do I keep it? It's ridiculous. These things cost money, you know. Like I'm not made of a bottomless pit of money. You know what I mean? Like it's just ridiculous to sit on a watch that you don't love or wear anymore.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
sell it.
Both of you have this love for chronology, right? Right. But how did you start, Denson, going into vintage stuff, and then how did you, Weng Keong, join Denson
Specifically
yeah.
for vintage. lah.
Yeah.
Vintage.
How did you guys get into vintage watches?
Wait, hold on, sorry.
Oh no worries.
Is there vintage watches and modern watches?
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
there is.
Oh.
There's also something in between, which is neo
Neo
vintage.
vintage.
Whoa, what the I didn't know neo
I
vintage.
didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, carry on.
Within
then.
vintage, you have vintage and deep vintage.
I've brought a modern watch here with me, and
Oh.
they are vintage watches.
That's a Cartier, right?
Yeah, that's a Cartier.
Yeah, I know that watch. My mom said that she liked it a lot because that watch long ago in the past, if you took it off, you can set it on your
As a
table
clock.
side
You still
and
can?
it becomes a clock.
Yes.
Because that's why the shape is like that.
Sorry, can I just? You don't have to take it out. I just want to see
sorry.
closer. You know.
I mean,
Just
But I can tell Denson is a big Cartier fan. Even the wrist he's wearing on the right, he's wearing
I
a...
think he's one of the most prominent Cartier collectors in the region.
I thought there's this guy named Cartier Watch Nerd.
Yeah, we know
our
him very
friend
well,
Nick.
Nick.
He came to studio also that day.
Correct.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I actually met his wife that day in an event.
Okay.
What's her name? Ashley.
No,
Cynthia,
Cynthia.
Cynthia.
Unless he's
Cynthia.
got more
Cynthia
than one
Ng,
wife.
right? Cynthia Ng, right? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, she didn't know that I knew him.
But confirm whether it's Ashley or not, because we want to know.
we let him know.
No, I forgot her name already.
Expose
But
him later.
basically, that is the purpose.
Yeah,
So I don't know whether you want to FaceTime, I can show that, but I find it very unique. So there are like 3 watches I find very unique in my life, although I don't really remember the model or whatever. That's one of them. Number 2 is Jaeger LeCoultre. I don't know whether you heard of this watch, where you can open it and then flip, and there's a piece of artwork. I'm like, what the fuck for? Then my mom was like, no, there are some watches, Jaeger LeCoultre, you flip, can tell 2 time zone. I'm like,
It is.
I'm like, what?
Hey, your mom knows a lot, man.
Okay lah, right.
She's quite into watches, I remember you were telling
Yeah,
me.
she had been into watches for a long time, and she likes shoes and watches.
All right.
Right. I think a lady of her era also lah. She's into sales. She was in the hotel industry. She came out. Same thing lah. I think similar to you and David at that time, you have a milestone and then she's like, oh, I want to go buy a nice watch. And I think Andrew would know this as well. Like she would drag us along and then she go buy a nice watch and Andrew's like, but when are we going to buy the toys? Like both of us are just like, when are we, but whatever, mom is in a good mood, which means she's going to buy us a toy today. That's why I remember it. So she would buy a lot of watches and then she wanted to give me her Tang, her Cartier Tang. And I was like, Mom, honestly, I don't know when I'm going to wear this. I don't know whether I can appreciate it, but I don't think you should give it to me. So she gave it to Andrew. Then Andrew has the Tang now. Then she gave me a Ballon Bleu.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Then after that, I wore the Ballon Bleu. I'm like, I still cannot appreciate it. But she will always say like, you see, you go client meeting, why the fuck you not wearing a watch? I give you for what? Then I told you I didn't need it, man. I want to track my steps, man. So that's why I know about Cartier a lot because my mom goes to the boutique so much.
But the sad reality is that the majority of people, even people who are collectors or enthusiasts, they buy watches because they think of what other people will, how other people will see them when they have that watch. Not because they genuinely love that watch.
100%. I remember.
I mean, they have to like it lah. Because if you think it's ugly as hell.
No, but they like the fact that people like what they wear.
Yeah.
That's what they like. They don't truly like the model.
It's the sad truth lah.
Yeah. They like the perception, right? Like when I bought that Seiko, I liked how it looked. I'm like, wow, quite cool way, sporty way. So I feel like.
But there's having said that, there's nothing wrong with it. When I say it's the sad truth, it's only because we come from the perspective of enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Where watches have meaning, not your personal meaning, but meaning in terms of their history. Their heritage, how they were made. And so
I was actually low-key happy. I was happy when my mom gave me that Ballon Bleu watch. And I was like, wow, actually quite nice. I got such a nice watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate it. Then I saw Rosma wearing it. Then I'm like, fuck lah.
Spoiled.
Yeah, then I like, should have taken the fucking tank, not the Ballon Bleu.
Yes, you should have taken it.
But it's okay. I only wear it for like nice occasions, and I only reward myself, quote unquote, to wear it after I complete all my steps, calories, everything that day. Then I get to wear the nice watch that day.
So how does one get into, before we go back to you,
vintage.
how you get into vintage, right? But how does one get into a modern or a vintage or any of its genre? Is it simply like music where you have rap, rock and all this kind of stuff? Or within rock, you have hard rock, soft rock, classic rock, metal, heavy, all this kind of
genre.
variations, So how does one get into like this, do you call it genre? Types, classifications? Classes? Eras?
Maybe era lah.
Era.
Because if you want to talk genre, there's a lot of other genres. You have dress watches, you have dive watches, you have pilot watches, you have GMT watches, you have dual time watches, you have all sorts of different subcategories, right?
But this is where they all tell time, so it's not about the time. I get that. It's so what it is about, like for pilot watches, is it still goes after the
altitude,
the romance, the story?
It sometimes tells you the altitude.
Yo, if my pilot is relying on one small little watch to drive the whole plane, I'm getting the fuck out of there.
The story is that time not so complicated, but they still have it. And there's one watch, I think it's a Vacheron Constantine lah, okay? It's like, last time the fucker, you fly the plane like that, right? Right, like that. Oh, so fucker, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry lah. But basically, if you got two hands on the thing, right? You notice how you can't really see the watch directly.
Yeah.
You have to turn, but they don't want you to remove your hand off the fucking wheel or whatever. So the watch is like saying it on, bro. It tells the time this way on, I don't. Can you just Google Vacheron Constantine?
Vacheron Constantine.
It is right. It's a VC,
American,
right?
1913 historic.
Yeah, historic. Yeah, I was like, wow, fucking cool, right? I don't know. You put that VC pilot watch, maybe.
No, it's not. It's actually a driver's watch.
Oh, it's a driver's watch. Okay.
I can kind of imagine that.
It's quite unique. Oh, there you go. Oh, shit, wait, fucking legit. Because when I saw it in real life, I'm like, wow, that's damn unique. But I like unique shit lah, right? Yeah. So that's why that goes to show there's a different purpose for it. I wouldn't say it's life-changing, but it's a conversation starter, bro. You wear that, right? You're like, hey, you're watching it.
I mean,
look at
it's
the price,
like,
bro.
It's like
mad.
pilot watches. They were not complicated. They were basically time-only watches.
Is it like Bell and Ross? I think it's like super solid, bulky
that one
shit.
manufactured lah.
Oh, is it?
But I mean, like the real pilot watches, that like the first one is actually...
It's a Breitling, isn't it?
No, the first one actually is an ancestor for this watch.
That's a Cartier.
That's a Cartier. So basically, like there's this guy, Brazilian guy, Alberto Santos Dumont. He was one of the early aviators. He used to fly dirigibles. You know,
What?
they're not even like they're not aerofoil wing aircraft.
Are we talking about this watch right now?
This watch,
Yeah.
Let's go FaceTime while you tell the story.
Okay. So like, so this guy, Brazilian guy, Alberto Santos Dumont, he was one of the early pilots. And back then, this is like 1910, thereabout. Right?
Damn, that is a dangerous time to fly, man.
Yes, I mean, it was like early days.
Basically, live or die. It's a coin flip every time you fly.
Correct.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the people who flew planes or aircraft, they were rock stars lah. So Alberto Santos Dumont was a rock star. And he had friends in high society, including Mr. Louis Cartier.
Oh shit.
And so he was complaining to Louis and said, he has to carry a pocket watch because men carried pocket watches at that time.
Yeah.
The only wristwatches were for women because they were
wow.
jewelry, right? So he said, like, I can't, I need my hands on the controls. I cannot be fumbling about for my...
It's a pocket watch,
for
right?
my
You
pocket
will die,
watch.
man. Yeah.
So please make me something, Louis. And Louis said, yeah, mais oui.
Mais oui. But yes.
And then, so he made the first Santos and named it after Alberto Santos
Oh,
Dumont.
shoot. That's why it's called a Santos.
Yes.
Oh, damn. But the nickname is the Tang, lah, right? Is that
No,
what it
the
is?
tank is a different history.
It's a different thing.
Tang is a-
right? Oh. So it's
So-
upside down.
This is the modern, relatively modern version of it. Because, I mean, like, the original one is like from the 1910s.
Damn.
This is from the 70s.
This is from the 70s.
Yeah.
Did you get this in Japan?
No, not necessarily. I'm not sure this one.
I feel like the Japan secondhand market is great. So, sorry, if you guys are listening to this podcast, there's a video format in which we are currently showcasing the watches that Denson and Weng Keong have brought today. So, you wanna say the full name of this model so that in case people are
Oh,
like,
yeah. This one is a Cartier Santos Carré.
Galbi.
Carré.
It's a Galbi.
Huh?
Galbi,
Don't
Galbi.
ask me for reference
speak
number.
nearer to the mic, bro.
This is a Galbi.
A Galbi.
Oh, this- you brought the
I brought the
Galbi. Sorry,
I brought the
sorry.
Galbi.
A
So
Galbi
it's
is a GALBI or
BEE.
BEE?
Yeah. So it's a late 80s.
I didn't know Cartier was Swiss. I thought Cartier is
Yeah.
French.
The owners are.
yeah.
It's a complicated
It's
history.
a complicated
very
history, a
complicated
very
history.
interesting history as well.
Yes.
Wow. Dude, Vincent's got a good eye with this like phone thing going on, man. I
Nice
gotta
angle.
say. Yeah, and the lighting is quite on point, bro.
Yeah, I don't get phones, but I like cameras and angles, man.
I went to this is a side topic. I went to Darren Chang, who is this like auto detailer studio, right? He installed this light. There's no reflection on anything, you know. That's how nice the light is, you know. If you reflect your watch off of it, right?
Wow.
It's just watch, you know, like this is perfect. But my lighting is not as good as his. But he told me like you should come and that's why he puts his cars there, basically. The bit of a deviated topic. So you're saying that is this considered vintage then in the 70s?
This is vintage lah. But I mean, like, just coming back to like different types of watches you were talking
Yeah.
about. Like, so this technically is a pilot's watch
Wow.
because of its origin, but nobody wears it as a pilot's watch, right? So, like, if you look at World War II, which is when aviation played a huge role in the war, right? That's where the real pilot watches came about in the 1940s because they
That's
were
when you
made
needed it.
en masse.
Yeah.
Where they had like 6-7 manufacturers were given contracts to just make watches for the pilots to use
That
in the
is
war.
crazy.
They were big
Bulky.
because they were worn over flight jackets.
Oh, so they needed to be larger.
So they needed to be bigger. They needed to be ultra visible. But all they did was tell the time,
God damn.
right? So even if you talk about, just to your point about like, they just tell the time, but why got so many
But the
different types?
stories.
They have different origins. They have different purpose back then. Today, the only purpose is to flex.
It is, yeah. That's the
But you see, I think this is where it touches on somewhat a form of sentiment, right? That's not necessarily personal
Exactly.
sentiment, right? But
Exactly.
it's a
So that's why I say, like,
Yeah.
I'm not into the sentiment of trying to put my
Your
history into it, but I appreciate the history in these
That-
watches. It's intrinsic. It's not artificial. I can't put a memory in there. You know.
For sure.
It's like-
But now I
You know
feel,
what I mean?
yeah, but at the same time, when you talk about things that way, I feel quite shit about wearing my balloon blue lah, because I think it's Rosma now lah. There's no other story lah, bro. But okay lah.
But balloon blue is also rich in history as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a better
Yeah.
history than
it's a good
Rosma.
watch as well. It's a good watch
Yes.
as well.
Yeah. I'll try lah, bro.
So let's go back to your story. How did you get into vintage then?
From him.
Ha!
Yeah.
I think it's this one.
Yeah, I used to be a modern guy.
we
Modern
go
watch
again.
guy.
Used to be a modern guy.
Now he's kind of old-fashioned.
Yeah.
From this one.
Not really specifically this one, but I only buy new watches.
Oh, okay.
That was
Okay.
three years back.
Oh, only 3 years ago.
Yeah, I would say even just 2 years ago. I only buy modern watches because I can't get through the idea of wearing something secondhand.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Somebody else's watch.
Yes,
I
so
can
this
relate to that.
vintage thing, now vintage is very big. Vintage
Yeah,
clothing.
yeah.
Everybody's getting like
I
second.
love secondhand shit, bro. I fucking love secondhand shit. I feel secondhand shit has more character.
Correct. Yeah.
I love it. I fucking love that. You know, even jeans. I've been going down this rabbit hole with jeans, bro. Denim is like my thing now. I'm like, wow, fucking damn.
Draw the
cool.
line at underwear, bro.
It's so interesting, man. But I get the feeling of transitioning. Last time also I had this feeling of like, no, must be new.
Correct. Yeah.
Must be fancy, must
It's
be,
like, it's like someone used before, you have
Yeah.
the very girly feeling sometimes. But after a while, you're deep into watches. It's getting more and more expensive to
Yeah.
a stage where it's not even affordable anymore. And something clicked. For instance, let's just use value for instance. Let's just use some money. Use some numbers.
Okay.
Let's say, okay. Let's say this one which we have just showed, right?
Yeah.
The Galby.
The Cartier.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a Cartier, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's a Santos. On top of, how much do you think this watch is? Just agak-agak lah. Like,
I would say 15 to 20 because it's not a big face watch. I think it's slightly smaller, so I would cap
if
it
you
15.
were to get a Santos in the boutique right now, it's
20,
The modern
30.
version.
Yeah, it's 35.
Yeah.
And this is around, like you said, it's 15. So it's half the price.
Oh, so is it 15?
Yeah, it is
Fuck, man.
15,
Then
yeah.
pro, man. Nice.
So it is half the price of an iteration of the Santos. It might not be the newest Cartier out there, but it has more, like you said, it has more soul. it has
Definitely.
more character.
Yeah.
So that's what clicked for me. It's like, I can't be throwing 30,000 at
And the new...
a new watch.
Yeah.
Regardless how much I like it, I can't be throwing 30,000 or 35,000.
It's quite difficult to change people's mindset when it comes to enjoying secondhand stuff. I have to say, because there are people out there who have lived with this mindset for a long time.
Yeah,
Like my mama cannot touch secondhand. She's just like, I can't deal with this.
100%.
Yeah, she has tried and she's like, nah, it's not for me lah. And I can understand why. From that era, I think you want to show that you bought something new, something fancy and all that lah. But I think when you start to see the second stuff, it's also easier for people to go into.
Yeah, it is.
And honestly, no one's gonna call you out on it lah. No one's gonna be like, it's not second hand one lah. No, or it's not how much. I don't think people are like that lah. Honestly, people will be like, wow, that looks quite nice, bro.
So how?
But honestly, if you buy a new watch, in 6 months, it will look like a second-hand anyway. So you're right, nobody will call you out and say like, hey, your watch looks used, because there's no such thing. The moment you use it,
It is used. Yeah.
It's used, yeah.
Wait, so prior to coming to this podcast, I was trying to understand all these vintage watches a little bit, right? So I asked Gemini and just give me a real case of a classic vintage watch that has, a story, and they talk about this vintage Patek Philippe Ref. 570. Do you guys know any?
What reference?
Reference 570.
570.
Reference
yeah.
570.
What is that?
I don't know lah. I'm not really into Patek, so I'm not very sure
You're
about
too
the
poor for
references.
Patek.
But
Okay.
if you can put that
Yeah.
on screen, I'm pretty sure it's a Calatrava or.
Would be a color trouble.
Right. I guess maybe Andrew can try Patek Philippe Ref.570 just for reference. But I guess what I wanted to ask is
REF or REV?
REF.
reference.
Okay.
I guess what I wanted to ask is that since you're saying like vintage watches, right, are supposed to be like classic timeless piece, but if you don't like it second hand, isn't
Damn.
classic vintage watches are like hand-me-downs?
Technically, right, I just want to add to this lah. A Patek Philippe, right, that the quote that you see on a Patek Philippe is you never truly own a Patek Philippe, you only hold it on for the next generation.
Yeah.
which is basically like this marketing tool to say that, you
Yeah.
know, it's so bloody expensive lah. So you're not really paying for yourself. You're just holding on to it.
So how do you buy a vintage watch, but when in fact you're actually buying a vintage watch that's made at 2020? What makes it so vintage? Just the look of it?
All right, okay. Just to clear the air, okay. When you're talking about vintage, you know, everybody has their own specification. Like, is the 80s vintage? Is the 90s vintage?
Yeah. That's
Some people might say
yeah.
2000 is vintage, you know,
Yeah.
because it's already 20 years.
24.
Yeah, 24 years. Yeah, it's
Fucking
quite
crazy.
vintage.
Quarter century,
you know,
right?
like, yeah. So all right, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
There is things which is made to look vintage.
Oh.
Okay, things to look. Okay, let's like this one, like the one you. Never mind, we can show later lah. Just a quick one.
Okay.
This is a vintage shape,
Yeah, it's true.
but it's not a vintage model. This is 2022.
Oh shit. Damn.
Yes, it looks vintage, but it's not. They remake the original shape in modern times. So this
Actually, yeah.
is not vintage. 100% it's
see.
not vintage.
Actually,
What
it
is
looks too good to be
vintage?
vintage.
It's the year
Actual
of
age.
manufacture.
Yeah.
Actual
Oh.
age. That is the vintage part.
The shapes have been recreated.
Yeah,
many
shapes
times.
are recreated stuff.
I suppose the follow-up question is, how old does it have to be considered real vintage then? You know
I
what I
have
mean?
I have my numbers. He has his numbers. It's everywhere. Yeah.
It's subjective, lah.
Yeah.
Okay,
For me,
okay.
I feel vintage is like 90s is vintage. Really.
Okay.
Maybe for him it could be
90s is neo, lah.
neo,
For
yeah.
me,
For him it's 80s. It's like vintage.
Oh, for me at this point, anything before
depend.
2000 is vintage lah. I feel lah. At this point, right, 90s feels vintage, man.
But it's a moving target, lah, because there used to be this notion that vintage is anything like 60s and older.
Oh shit.
And then like from the 60s to the 80s is neo vintage.
Oh.
And anything from the 90s onwards is modern, you know. So a lot of people used to think that way.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think it doesn't make sense, because so if I buy something from the 90s, it's considered modern. I keep it for 60 years, it's still modern.
No way.
No, ma.
Yeah,
it's a moving,
target.
it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
moving target, right? So
That's true.
it's a question of like where you want to set your threshold, lah. To me, I consider anything like 20 years and younger to be modern.
20 years and younger is modern. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, lah, can say also.
But you know, different people have different
Perception of what is
yeah.
vintage.
The benchmark's different, lah. So
Okay, cool. Okay, so you guys obviously found this love for vintage time wear, and then how did you transform this passion into a business then? And why?
Okay. All right.
Wow.
No.
Because a passion is a passion,
Yeah,
right?
passion is a passion.
You know,
Okay. Sidetrack a while, right?
For sure.
Because family business, you would always believe you have to continue
The family business.
legacy.
Oh,
know what I mean?
I empathize.
Yeah, you're gonna continue. Oh, you have seen your parents work so hard. I cannot let this die.
Yeah.
So you have to go in and step on it.
Yeah.
It's also a stepping stone. You wouldn't let it like, sayang, my mom has worked so long for it.
I know.
wouldn't let it
I can
go.
feel. Yeah.
But that's not the passion, right? And traditional parents, they like to say, passion cannot succeed one. Not sure whether you have heard it.
Passion cannot succeed.
You won't make money out of passion.
No, my mom is quite the reverse.
No.
She's like, you must do what you love.
Okay.
Then you know
Then the
forever.
one is the balik. My mom, you very hard to succeed with passion. Music lah, art. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
So
I share that though. I just want to say.
when
yeah.
sometimes when when your cousins or you have younger relatives, they ask like, hey, I'm graduating, what should I do? I used to say that, hey, find a good job in the big five, go to big five, climb out the corporate ladder, you might be getting a 5-figure salary in
less than 10 years.
less than 10 years.
It's possible. Yeah.
Then it's quite a good life in Malaysia.
Yeah,
so
fantastic.
that is always my advice to all my cousins and all my relatives until I started doing this.
Okay.
So for the past 6 months, if someone really asks me about like, hey, should I do a passion thing and make it into business? I would say yes, but you have to go all out, not like a half-baked solution where maybe I want to buy something from Taobao to sell. I like to sell art and craft. I go Taobao buy, and that wouldn't work. You got to design your own stuff, put all in, and this is the proof of what we have come up with. We go all out on this. It's a passion, but it's a viable business model as well. Yeah. So now if a young people ask me, actually, I want to make my hobby in a business, I say, yes, it's very possible. You don't need to go to a big five or go to a very nice corporate environment to have a good living in Malaysia.
Do you think it's like sustainable enough to jaga family like that? If you just went all in like that,
Obviously, we're not going to talk about numbers, but from how we have been doing for 3 months. Okay, NextVintage has been doing for 3 months. I'm doing something called FirstVintage.
Oh.
Yeah, so the difference is NextVintage is basically like your next one. So things are more expensive, more historical significance. So back in JB, I'm doing something called FirstVintage. So they are the more affordable stuff. Those people who are not into vintage, but they say, hey, I don't want to pay so much money.
you want to break the bank? Okay.
Yeah, I only want to spend 400 ringgit to try out a vintage watch. Then I say, come to FirstVintage.
Oh.
FirstVintage is in Eco Botanic, right?
Yes, it is.
Is it in the? Remember when last 2 weeks you messaged me and I said I'm in JB,
And then you're going for a walk?
then I snap a picture. That's where their shop is at.
Oh shit!
But I try to walk around that. Is it a Jaya Grocer or is it a shop lot area?
All right, it's above Jaya Grocer.
Above Jaya Grocer. I actually walk around there because my girlfriend stays there. Sorry, her house there. I was just there.
It's your fiance now.
Yeah, it's my fiance. Sorry, I supposed to walk around to try to look for your shop.
Yeah, we are just open on appointments lah. Yeah.
Oh.
We are just open on appointments.
I see.
So you went to JB.
Yeah, because
You came back okay.
What do you mean by I came back okay?
Hey, do you like? Hey, do you like JB Bak Kut Teh?
No man, JB has no good food.
Bro, that's a lie. No, that's a lie.
on,
That's a
defend
lie.
me.
I like JB. I like JB.
JB has no good
No,
food.
no. They have the what's that called? Kway Teow Kia. Kway Teow Kia is pretty
Kway
dope.
Chap, yeah.
Kway Chap is pretty dope, bro.
Yeah, if
Under the
you're
bridge one.
interested,
It's just mid lah, to be honest.
Wow, damn, bro. That standard's fucking high, man. I always polish that shit, bro. I polish it, bro. I lick the plate, bro. It's fucking good, man.
For the last 1 year, we've been having this debate about
JB's food,
Klang Valley Bak Kut Teh and JB Bak Kut Teh.
So what are your take? What is your take?
No, Klang Valley is way
I've
better, lah.
eaten JB Bak Kut Teh a long time ago. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's like so insistent, so I said, okay lah, I will give chance and try again. But I haven't.
So I'm waiting for him
managed
to come
yet.
down. But my friends who have moved to KL, they die say Klang Bak Kut Teh is shit.
Huh?
Say Kepong Bak Kut Teh is good. There's one in Kepong which is like Michelin Guide Bak Kut Teh. That is similar to the JB one, and they say that is the best Bak Kut Teh in Klang Valley.
Is it?
Yeah.
Gives
Okay,
you-
honestly, I ate the Klang one, how many eyes or 4 eyes or whatever it is. I
Yeah.
find that very trash, honestly.
Why sucks,
Trash
ah?
is strong
I
words,
don't like,
bro.
okay.
Strong words.
Hey, shit, later people blame me.
Trash is
No,
strong.
I
I
don't
think
like
you are going to be cancelled.
I don't like the stickiness, the
You don't like the heavy taste.
yeah, the blackness of the soup. You know.
Okay.
Tastes like sauce to me.
Okay.
Like JB Bak Kut Teh is soup, it's very soupy.
Oh,
So we like to drink the whole soup.
I see.
That's the reason why I don't like Vietnam.
Ah,
food.
okay, yeah.
Oh, that's why you don't like Vietnamese food.
Yeah,
Because
that's
too
why-
ching, Ting Tong.
Ting, yeah. The JB Bak Kut Teh is so ting. It's like might as well you just drink air.
At least you don't cross over to Singapore and then you have that shit Bak Kut Teh lah. That one,
Singapore is
White pepper.
Singapore is legit not good.
that one, fuck me, man. That one is criminal, bro. It's fucking criminal. Nobody should eat that. It's a disgrace to no fucking name. I didn't even know. Then Melody was telling me, hey, you should go and try. I go and try. I'm like, my God. Even my mom didn't finish
I
it.
just wasted one meal on that.
It's fucking expensive, dude. It's fucking trash, lah. So no matter what, at least we all can be on the same side, lah, right? The fuck that
Hey,
Singapore
Eco
shit.
Botanic has this nice ramen shop.
Huh?
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That was really good. Ramen
Okay.
champion, I think.
Then now I know that he likes very
I
strong
like
taste.
strong.
Very
I like strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ramen champion.
Yeah.
I think it's called ramen
The soup
champion.
is very, very gao one. Very gao soup.
Hokkaido
never
based ramen.
Oh, that means miso.
So very very gao.
Not very JB the one.
Yeah.
But okay, so you moved to JB first and then you started first vintage.
I've always been in JB just
Oh.
because my wife was working in KL.
Oh, okay.
That's how we all met.
Oh.
But once I had kids, I went back down to JB.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, so I started my first vintage things, but I never tell anybody
Oh.
because I'm not sure how
The perception would
how's
it
the
be?
perception, yeah, and how it's gonna turn out. So I just try selling just 2 watches. Hey,
Got market.
only 5 minutes. The 2
Huh.
watches sold out.
Wow.
That's
Then-
crazy, bro.
Then I try with like 5 watches, 10 watches, everything gets sold out in like 5 minutes. Then I told him lah. In the end, I let him know. I said, hey, I'm doing this vintage thing. And I know that he always wanted to do a watch business.
Oh, is it?
He always wanted to
Oh,
do-
since you fell in love with watches, that's when you always felt like you wanted to. I know you have a very strong carousel account, And at that time, I remember when I got the watch from you, so just leave a 5-star when you buy from you. And I'm like, wow, this Weng Keong is damn deep in the carousel, man. I was telling Jen, I'm like, wow, that's really cow, man, his carousel. Quite low, his reviews is insane, man.
He forced people to give review.
No, to me, it's like I got to watch video, so it doesn't really matter, right? But the management of the profile is damn mad, lah. But I didn't know you always wanted to go into a business with watches.
I think it's that's your perception, and I can understand why. But for me, it's like the key to buying watches is selling.
The key to buying watches is selling.
If you're not selling your watches, you're not buying anymore, unless you're made of money, lah. Right? To me, like to really be in the hobby, you have to learn to sell.
Wow, if I sold my Ballon Blanc, my mom would fucking skin me alive, bro.
So like for me, the selling part was something I learned over time. And like when I buy a watch from a dealer, I'm not talking about the shops, dealers, used the secondary market dealers. I end up being friends with them.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I learned a lot because like one of them became a really, really close friend. And so I learned a lot about the watch business and how to sell and what sells and what doesn't sell, and how to relatively keep safe from scams and things like that. So it was part of a learning process to learn to sell because I needed to buy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like I don't think I ever really wanted to be like legit start a watch business because it's capital intensive.
Is it?
Yeah.
It
No,
is.
you say you buy and sell. Just keep buying and selling. Lah.
Cash flow? You don't sell, huh?
As a
Can
business,
sell one.
You never know.
Oh, is it?
You never know. Sometimes you think something, this will probably sit for a couple of weeks. 2 minutes is gone. Some things like you think like, this one sure sell one. 6 months later, still sitting
Still collecting
there.
dust.
You never know, and you never know. So, so for me, it's like I'm interested in the business side of watches, lah. Let's put it that way, rather than I want to start a watch business.
It's also probably the learning, the aspects of learning you can get from selling, lah. I think that's what really intrigues you,
totally,
also, right?
yeah.
Like the history of it, why, how,
Totally.
that type of thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
So like, so as you were saying, he started in JB, and then maybe you
then we
continue.
noticed
then what
like,
happened?
this is a viable business model. You know, like the things are getting sold out every Friday. Within like 5 minutes, 18
Wow.
to 20 watches is getting sold out. And a lot of feedback is, hey, why you not in KL? Can you do it in KL? Can you do it in KL?
Oh.
Then I say, cannot lah. I have family, I have kids. We are all in JB.
Yeah.
Can't really do it in KL. Then actually I told him also. Then I was very open lah. I just tell him like how much money I make, how much I buy. What's the profit. Then know that he has a very good business mind.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, fuck it, why not do it in KL? And I say, can trust him, eh? I didn't. Then we talk about it, talk about, hey, why not do it in KL? He seems to be the most logical
Yeah.
watch friend around my circle to do it with. And our understanding and love for watches is quite similar. So we are not worried
Except the
about,
sentimental part, lah, but okay.
except for the sentimental and the
No, we have
pakute part.
very different tastes, but we
Oh, the
appreciate
taste.
watches
Yeah.
from the same perspective.
Okay.
So we talk about it. We say, hey, actually, I might be selling brand A, brand B, brand C. Would you be okay to write about it? Because
I see.
if you want to write about a product, you have to somewhat love the product. If not, it's gonna just be BS.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a hard push. Like, he doesn't like it, but he has to write good things
Damn
about
nice. Bye.
it. Yeah. So we clear the air. Actually we are very open with each other lah. We just say, okay, if it go, because it's a friendship thing to a business thing, and a lot of friendship to business turns sour.
Oh, I can relate. Yeah.
Yeah. So we clear the air first, like, okay, this is a business. I know we are friends from watches,
Yeah.
but business is business. If you are unhappy with anything I do,
You shouldn't bring it up.
Just bring it up.
Yeah.
Touch wood, until now it's very okay, but that's how it started lah.
I see. But that would mean, so you started with first and then you went to next.
Correct.
Right. So that means you saw a market for it, and then that's when you thought like I should upscale to those higher, more expensive models.
That is correct.
And that's how you went into it.
Yeah.
I'm just asking,
for
like,
sure.
and you don't need to answer it, but like, how do you source for these vintage watches? Like, it's quite challenging, First of all, I think condition is like, bro, if people can oversell things lah, right? And even if they don't, they undersell. Let's say you go to Japan, you want to buy a second-hand watch. It's gonna cost you a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
And then lugging around, like this is basically like a couple of cars on the table already, lah. The cost of some of them watches, right? So how do you source for these vintage quote unquote watches?
I think I can openly say this. We source from Japan. I can
Oh,
I
shit,
can bring open
fuck.
to you, but it's not easy to get
The condition, the model you think that can
the
sell.
deal and the price that we are offering.
I
If you were to fly to
see.
Japan right now and look at what they are selling, they're gonna be more expensive than us
For the same condition.
for the same condition, for the same model. Maybe let's say you want to get like one of the watches on the table.
Mm.
We will be cheaper than Japan,
Oh, is it?
even though most of our staff is from
From Japan.
Japan. Yeah, or private collectors.
Ah, I see.
So it's really like it's not as easy as buying and selling. The behind the scene is crazy. The amount of work he puts into the watches is not just we're gonna buy one and we say, oh, very nice, okay, WK, can you take a photo, post and sell? It's not that easy. We do the testing, make sure it's accurate, make sure nothing goes wrong with the watch. If the condition is bad, we absorb the cost.
Oh shit.
Like you say, this watch could be like 15,000 or 20,000. If we source it in, because sometimes it's like sometimes the dealers would just say, oh, we have this one at this price. You want to bring it in? I say, okay lah, bring it in lah. But when we see the real thing is shit,
Oh
we absorb
my god, that is fucked
we
up.
wouldn't force and say that, oh, because our cash flow is bad, we will still sell it. If it looks shit, then we
Absorb cost.
we absorb the cost ourselves.
That is fucking
So
hardcore,
it's not,
bro. Oh my
it's
god.
not as easy as buy and sell, buy, clean it, take photo.
I
and
mean,
sell.
he's got it down to an art form. He does all of the buying. It's something I hope to learn. So after he buys, I take it from there, right? The testing, he also does testing. Minor repairs, the dial needs to be straightened.
No
whatever, these kind
fucking
of
way.
things.
You all
Wow.
repair also.
Yeah, we
ah?
do that. Like the movement is healthy because we have equipment that will check the movement, right? Movement's healthy, but the time setting is a bit off. We re-regulate, all of those things. So like we do all that after the buying, but frankly, all of that is to present the watch and make it saleable, which means shit if you don't have the watch in the first place. So
Yeah.
the primary business is this guy. And it's an art because you need to be able to find the good pieces and you need to act fast.
This is multi-layered shit, man.
It's multi-layered.
You
There's
got
so
amazing.
much into it.
Yeah, you need to
Most
have
people
the
don't
eye.
understand.
I think
Yeah.
you need to have the eye for design. You need to
Yes.
have the communication skills to be able to detect whether
No,
the
before
fucker is
that,
right.
even you have the eye for design, but you need to know the market because you
Yeah.
can't buy at the wrong price.
Yeah.
You buy at the wrong price, the moment you try and put any margin on top of it, you're going to be pricing yourself out of the market.
Yeah.
So you need to know the market price. You need to know what the market is willing to accept and not willing to accept. You need to be able to put your own taste into it to say, I think the market is going there.
In that
because
direction.
you don't kick the ball to the guy, to the footballer where he's standing, right? You kick the ball to the
Where he's
footballer where
running
he's
to.
going,
Yeah.
right? So all of these things come into it, and this guy, and then on top of that, speed. Because if you're slow,
Oh shit.
other people will buy it before you.
Shit.
So you need to have that confidence, the eye to be able to spot the good things fast and act.
So how active? How active do you go to Japan to like source for these things?
Just came back.
Just came back.
Oh fucking hell, bro. But how often? How many times a
Yeah,
year?
how often?
Not often.
Not often lah. Not often. Yeah, we try
So
to
each time
do
you
it
go there, you
online.
buy
Yeah.
3 cars
But
back.
like I say, it's not such a good deal to fly there to the misconception is cheaper in Japan because they are from Japan, but it's not.
Because you pay flight ticket, you go there, you buy the watch. Sometimes you come back only you find out also. Although the Japan has a very high standard for this second-hand stuff, there is risk cost. And they just mentioned it's cheaper to get from them. So technically, you maybe ship.
It's not cheaper to find the watch in Japan. You are physically there. You visit like shop A, shop B, shop C, shop D, which they have a brick and mortar.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not cheaper. It's very expensive.
Nagano Broadway lah, that
Yeah,
one.
everything is bloody expensive and
It's bloody expensive.
It's inflated, So like we try to form our own private relationship with people who are selling. in
I
Japan.
see.
That's how we get it in.
Also, like there's a supply chain lah for the watch industry, right? So everything you see in Nakano Broadway is already at the end of that chain already.
Yep.
I
So
see.
all the markups have stacked already.
Yeah.
Right. So the key is to find is to go upstream.
Yeah.
Wow, it's so difficult, huh?
So every day.
That's where this guy comes in.
So like for me, every day I spend like 2 hours just looking at watches. So he always like to say, hey, how are you spending 2 hours looking at watches every day? You know, just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, going through different tabs. But to me, looking at watches is
It's a
like
joy.
reading the newspaper. Yeah, I like it. You know, when I send my kids to school, I come back, I look at 30 minutes. Once I'm done with 30 minutes, I choose, okay, these are a few I might want to buy. Then I go to work. Then lunchtime, you know, rather than looking at TikTok or Facebook,
fuck all.
look at watches law.
Yeah.
Same thing, 30 minutes, you know, so you have 1 hour. Before dinner, you look for another 30 minutes. By then, you can have enough inventory for one drop.
That is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You don't need to disclose all your upstream partners, but I just want to know what is the story of how you met a partner that is willing to work with you to bring the watch here. Like, can you give me an example of a relationship on how you met? You don't need to tell me who, but how did you form this relationship with this person?
So the recent one, which I was lucky to get, right, because I was there.
In Japan?
In
Okay.
Japan. Then I purchased a watch for my mother-in-law. Then initially they were very strict. They said, we are only selling to end users. We don't have a dealer relationship, blah, blah. So I did like a video of me in the store. And coincidentally, I have a friend who's also a dealer in Singapore. He texted me, hey, are you in shop AAA? Then I said, hey, yeah, why you know? He said, because they are my dealer for Singapore.
Oh, sure.
So I know, oh, actually they deal B2B. So that's how we like, hey, then I texted, hey, there's a word of mouth from my friend that you are also a dealer and you can supply, blah, blah, blah. Then from there, it's basically word of mouth. It's word of
see.
mouth. They need someone to vouch you for in the industry and say that, okay, this guy is legit. This guy is just not a one-time buyer. He has the means to get a consistent supply
business.
from a consistent business. Yeah, from
Wow,
there.
that is quite crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
it's not like you email him and say, hi guys. I'm
Yeah.
starting
You
a
can't
watch
cold call
business.
people like
Can
that.
we get B2B deals? You know, it doesn't really work that way.
Yeah, and especially in Japan, right? Like because I know a person. I mean, at this point, I know a person who knows that person, who started like a green tea business.
All right.
And green tea also, they won't sell direct to Malaysian one. You need to be vouched for, you know. Japan people normally quite difficult. One.
Quite difficult.
You want to get a table in some restaurants also, you have to speak Japanese.
Yeah. But I didn't know. Speaking is okay, but I feel like vouching is damn hard, man. It's like you know,
being a guarantor
For green tea,
somebody.
damn.
for green tea and charcoal. Charcoal also need.
the hell?
Yeah, a guy wanted to start a yakitori business. He's like, I needed to go and find a guy that could vouch for me. That says that this guy wants consistent binchotan charcoal. Then I'm like, wow, actually damn difficult. Way. So when you told me right, like you have sources and it's Japan, I'm like, wow, damn difficult, man. It's either A, like you said, you speak Japanese, and then you got to be speaking fucking fluent lah, okay? Or B, you know someone that knows someone lah, which is quite difficult.
So there's a lot of chains, a lot of supply stream. Like, you know, you have private sellers, you have, like you say, dealers. You have
get consignments
Yeah,
now, eh?
consignments
Oh,
as well.
wow.
Yeah. Recently we have started, you know, people are consigning their pieces to us. Then it's not as easy as
Put up and sell.
Denson sell, you know. It's like, oh, we have to check, is everything original?
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
healthy?
Yeah, so just for the record, if you consign the watch to us, it doesn't necessarily mean we'll take it.
It needs to go
And
through.
there's no hard feelings, please. we have to make sure that as a young business that we maintain
quality.
quality because that's the foundation of our business.
Definitely. And
So the behind the scene is hectic. Yeah, sometimes he's running up and down, you know, from PJ to KL just to get a watch done ASAP and get it shipped. And so from my side, you know, we don't have enough inventory for a drop every
Fucker,
week.
that means you're not retired lah, you.
See what he's doing,
This
he's
is
not retired.
full-time,
That's not retirement,
full-on,
dude.
full-time.
Wow.
So the research, you know, you cannot
Last 3 months.
give inaccurate information.
Yeah,
to the
definitely.
clients. Yeah, you know, there's a history of the watch. Like you say, this one is a modern watch, but it looks vintage. You can't be like, oh, this is a vintage,
You can't just
blah, blah, blah. You
mask,
can't just,
disguise it as
So
vintage.
he does, like, you know, the years have to be accurate. The dimensions have to be accurate. So obviously there's a lot of second-hand dealers in KL, you know. You have people who are selling handbags, you know, LV.
Yeah,
Hermes.
it's quite common.
You have people who are selling watches. So one of the issues we have noticed is actually people, they are not so transparent on what the watch is. So some dealer could just post the watch on Instagram and they say, okay, this is the watch name, this is the price, PM
this
PM
number.
for deal, PM for price.
Never
That's
say
all.
condition, never.
Yeah, they never say condition. You know, for us, we say, oh, there's a small ding on the
Yeah.
the top lux. There is a,
Oh,
you
gotta
know,
be that specific.
yeah. So
Yeah,
he
Oh,
does
definitely.
the, yeah, you know, or we'll say, oh, there is a, there is, you know, sometimes people might be, okay, you have size from left to right, but what's the size of the inner left and right? You know, so he does that.
What the
It's
fuck?
crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think like just to sort of put perspective behind all this that we're talking about is that, I know Denson shares this even though we've never actually expressly said it to each other, but we believe there's a difference between making a profit and earning a profit.
Oh, that's
Right?
very true.
And I think like the majority of people in the watch industry, the majority of dealers, especially when we're talking about sort of like entry level to mid level kind of
Luxury lah,
vintage
maybe.
watches,
Yeah.
you don't get scholarship, you don't get diligence, you don't get rigor, you don't get detail, right? Because I don't think of course there are always exceptions. I have to qualify that lah, you know. But generally speaking, I think in this segment, most dealers look at it as commodity. Buy the watch as cheap as you can,
Sell as high as you can.
put your markup as high as you can, sell it.
They're making like
As
earning.
little effort in between as possible. So iPhone photo, condition
PM for price.
excellent, PM for price, right? Because then you can go quick, fast, and
Yeah.
then you make money.
But
lah.
the reputation is not exactly at the forefront of their.
Yeah, and you make a profit lah, you know. But for us, like we've been buyers ourselves for many years, and we see this all the time, right? You ask a dealer, hey, actually that watch, got anything I need to know or not? Oh, it's very good, right? And then 6 months later, you find it's not very good because there's something a little bit off or whatever. And then you get it back in touch with the dealer. It's like, sorry, no returns, whatever. Do you know what I mean? When I saw it wasn't like that. I don't know, you had this for 6 months already. I don't know. You know, for this particular segment, however, if you contrast that with like 6-figure watches all over the world, you have such a high level of scholarship and transparency. So for us, it's like, just because you're spending 5K and not 500K,
Doesn't mean you are exempt.
doesn't mean you
yeah.
don't deserve that kind of transparency
yeah.
because your 5K to you
It's a lot.
may be worth more than the 500K for a
To the
billionaire.
rich, yeah.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, why is it that the industry doesn't have the same level of diligence across the board? Because watches are high involvement, high touch items. You can't sell them like low involvement commodity. But in this segment of the market, that's what they are.
Wow.
But it's
So we're trying
tough.
to change that.
But it is a tough thing
It's
to
tough
do.
lah. I mean, we've had friends, you know, who are dealers tell us, what you're trying to do? Cannot sustain one lah. Don't spoil market.
That's where NextVintage, the competitive advantage is this, which is you guys are buyers yourself. You know, you guys can directly
Higher
speak to the
scrutiny for-
heart of the customers and
Yeah.
feel the pain point. Yeah.
Like people don't need this kind of information. Man. Don't do lah. No need lah. Too hard lah. Cannot sustain one. But for us, like I mean, I've been around since the 18th century, so for me, I have to bear in mind that I'm not going to be doing this for, you know, the next 50 years. I
Yeah.
won't live that long, right? But he's got another 50 years. So
Wow, throw me under
you
the
know,
bus.
at least, right? So I want to make sure that I'm laying like good foundation in terms of like where the company and the business can go.
When there is good intent, normally there is good result, I feel. Normally, if you have a good intention for the overall market or anything for that matter, normally when you leave a mark, it's a positive mark one, whether
but
it's
at the
monetary
same-
or not.
But at the same time, when you care too much, you do a lot of things that are actually not effective and efficient for the business.
It's
and that's where
possible.
a lot of like old timers would say
Totally.
you're not sustainable because
Yeah.
you're putting
Totally.
all this
Sure,
part
for
that,
sure.
you know.
Totally. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'll keep doing this for as long as we can. Right? Because if one day it is not sustainable really, and I think it's very possible that they are correct.
Yeah.
You know, like once you reach a certain volume, it's just not sustainable. Understand? So we keep our volume very low. But if that happens, and if we move the needle in terms of how the industry sells, then I feel for me,
You
worth
left
it
your
lah,
mark, huh?
personally. Do you know what I mean? Like we made a mark, right?
Yeah.
And we're starting to see that. Like we've seen dealers who typically write 3-line listings Now they're doing 7 lines.
Ah, a bit more
You know what I mean?
confidence in the buyer, for
you
the
know,
buyer.
and that's good. That's good for everybody.
Yeah.
It's good for dealers because you become better at what you do,
You
and
may
of course it's good
informed buyer.
for buyers. You know,
Yeah.
so like as far as I'm concerned, like this whole industry can do better. Like people always say, maybe not in Malaysia, but in other markets, people always say like becoming a watch dealer is not exactly an ambition. You know, it's like saying you want to be a used car dealer. There's not a lot of respectability or whatever to it.
For now, lah, but things change
But
also.
if you look at the high end, there is.
Yeah.
You know, there are people like Mr. Watchley, a collected man. In Malaysia, we have people like S Song watches and
I
all
don't
that.
know
The
these
guy with
These
the
are
signboard.
all.
You know, when you're on the highway, there's a signboard with
Yeah.
watches.
What?
If you're on the federal highway, 100% there is a big electronic signboard.
On the way to Subang on the
Yeah.
Federal Highway.
Got me?
Yeah.
Drew, you
S Song
notice?
watches.
It's shaped as a watch, is it?
No, it's like
No,
an
no.
advertisement.
Oh no,
It's a
I-
digital
Watch
billboard. Yeah.
It's, we're not the target market, bro. That's why.
Yeah, we'll definitely not.
You've definitely seen it. It's just like it's a
Yeah.
blind spot
Oh,
to you.
is it?
Yeah. So there are dealers in the high end who perform at a very, very high level, except that it doesn't go across the board. So like as far as I'm concerned, we do this for as long as we can. Maybe we move the needle, maybe we don't. Maybe we eat humble pie in 2 years when
Humble pie.
when we're trying to double our volume and we can't do this anymore. But I would like to think we tried lah.
Yeah.
So where are your customers coming from, majority? Like, how do you guys
for
get...
first or for
Actually,
next
they're
lah?
young.
That's it. Young
Young.
people.
Yeah.
Ah.
Very,
Very,
very
very
young. 20s and 30s.
But what he says
Wow.
is true, you know or not. Now, if you're spending, obviously, let's say 3,000 ringgit, still a lot of money for a watch. It's even more money for a vintage watch.
Yeah.
With 3,000 ringgit and this person A, she finally decides that, all right, I'm ready to take the plunge for this $3,000 watch, 3,000 ringgit watch, which is equally beautiful. So she also deserves a story of the watch. So that's where he comes in.
I
Yeah,
see.
so
Oh.
even you don't need to spend 30,000 on a Rolex to have a story. You don't need to get a $50,000.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows a GMT Pepsi.
Yeah.
You don't need a Pepsi to say, oh, this watch has a whatever history.
That was actually what I was going for the Seiko, that's why.
Yeah, you want
Yeah,
the
yeah,
story.
yeah,
You
yeah.
don't need to spend that for $3,000. You can have a story
Yeah.
for yourself, or even for a Seiko, which is maybe $400, 400 ringgit.
Hmm.
400 ringgit. There's stories within this watch. If you were to flip through the vintage catalogs, you can see this exact watch in the catalog.
Yeah.
So all this, as a buyer, you don't need to spend 6 figures to have that 6-figure experience.
That's true.
You also
Oh.
deserve that experience
See.
at 400 ringgit or at 3,000 ringgit or at maybe 5,000 ringgit.
At the expense of their time that you have to go through that shit, I think it's quite worth it already.
So
I feel.
like you say, if it's a 300 ringgit watch or 400 ringgit watch, we are writing stuff
that is...
that is worth like as if you're selling a 6-figure watch.
Yeah.
Oh, this one is very mind-opening for me. Obviously, we are not target audience, and obviously, I know people are not buying these watches to tell time, But to get the idea that suddenly, when you say that, I can imagine myself as a buyer going to the shop and looking at this, and then shopping for stories. That's insane.
Yeah.
And how do they buy? Well, what's the process like? Let's just say I've got a couple of watches here, right?
Yep.
Is this where when you guys are selling, you guys are telling me that this particular watch it fits somebody of your personality, of your background? Let me tell you the story of this watch. Is that how it works?
Sometimes they seek out for it
All right.
already.
That's also that's a rabbit hole you just brought in also.
Yeah, I can tell.
So, so like this watch, right? It might look like a normal vintage watch to you.
Are you about to tell a story? If I am, I'm
Yeah.
going to zoom into this one.
Zoom in lah.
You can zoom in, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
this is his
Andrew,
story,
can you
lah.
call
His
me?
story,
Yeah,
not my story,
thanks.
yeah. This one.
This is a Seiko. This one is on... Oh, this is a freaking grand
Yeah, it's a
Seiko.
grand Seiko,
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
grand
Holy shit.
So for your side, you get the story, you get the history of it being a grand Seiko. Could
Yeah.
be, the high-end Seiko of whatever.
I was aiming for a GS for a long time, and then after that, I realized I can't afford a GS. Then I'm like, okay, never mind, I'll just do my Apple Watch. Forget it.
So like you say, it's a grand Seiko. You guys know how the quality, the finishing for grand Seiko is is significant.
Yeah.
So you also want a Grand Seiko. But
I
what's the
do.
reason you want a Grand Seiko first? What's the reason for you?
First of all, it's because it's Japanese.
Alright.
Right. And I see a lot of Japanese businessmen who wear Seikos, but when you see a Japanese man wear a Grand Seiko, that's why you know this guy has made
He's
it.
the grand guy.
He's made it, you know, as he's a proper businessman already. He's had his years in the industry wherever he is. So that's why I felt like, should treat myself to a Grand Seiko. Go Ginza, like fuck it, cannot afford Grand Seiko. Go Nagano Broadway, fuck it, I lucky cannot afford Grand Seiko. So that's why I didn't buy
So
lah.
this is a WK's watch. I think it would be better for you to tell a story, but generally, you know, it's a Grand Seiko. You have the significance of the brand within the history of what the watch is. But it's more special to him because it's a birth year watch.
Holy shit.
Yeah, this watch is my age lah.
Wow, 1800s.
Yeah. And as you can see, it's running better than me. Now this so Seiko was like they've been obviously a Japanese brand and they make watches for the average Japanese Joe lah.
Yeah.
Okay, since the 1800s something, the late 1800s, and this one for real lah.
For real, 1800s, yes.
And they've always made cheap, like buy the people for the people kind of thing lah.
They
So
have
that
been.
the masses can afford to buy a watch. But they were never like the best watches because at that point of time in the world, it's Swiss watches that were considered the best.
Yeah.
Right? So in the 60s, they tried to change that. They said, you know, like, okay lah, our watches are not the most accurate or whatever, but, you know, we've been doing this for long enough at that point, like something like 70, 80 years, that I'm sure we can make our movements as good as the Swiss. So they started to submit watches into chronometer trials, which are all these like awards for how accurate you can make your watch, right? But in order to do that, they needed to raise their levels so high that they can beat the Swiss, right? So what they did was they split the work into two factories, the Daini factory and the Suwa factory, and asked the two of them to compete,
No freaking way, man.
right?
Internal competition.
Internal competition to push their standards lah.
Wow.
So eventually, and one side was called Grand Seiko, the other side was called King Seiko.
Oh.
So eventually, Grand Seiko kind of won lah. Okay, and they started to beat the Swiss in chronometry trials. So much so that after they won it for a few years, the Swiss actually didn't allow them to enter.
Into the European market lah, I'm assuming. Or Swiss market
They
lah.
didn't allow them to enter into the competitions, the chronometry competitions.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, because they were winning.
Wow.
So that's when, at that point, Seiko stroke Grand Seiko was like, okay, we've done it, but our watches still look like the Europeans. It's still your classic round case,
Yeah.
you know, flowing lux that where your strap is attached to.
The flowing lux is where the strap is attached to. Like here.
Like this is a traditional.
Yeah.
This is a traditional.
So that's the round case, and then the lux, right? Which the
It's
strap-
kind of like the two
It just
pointy
flow
parts that
lah,
hold.
it just
Okay.
flow, you know, like Swiss watches lah.
Yeah.
Like all watches lah, pretty much, right? So they brought in they put the challenge to one of their internal designers, this guy called Taro Tanaka, in 1960 something. He came out with a whole new design language, which is angular.
How is this
Right.
angular? Lah? Can you just
You
explain?
look at the shape of the lug versus the shape of this lug.
Is it this part over here?
Okay, that's in between the lugs. Look at the lug.
Oh,
Look at the profile of
It's
the
like
lug.
thicker a bit at the
It's
side
like
there.
thicker,
right?
angular, sharp.
Yeah.
This one
It is
like
more diamond-like.
flowing,
Yeah, that's a very rounded and that's very angular. Yeah, that's true.
right? So
More
he came up
brutal
with
lah,
this
more
thing
intense lah,
called
right?
the grammar of design.
Grammar of design. Okay.
Yeah, I mean Japanese and English. You know.
Yeah.
So you know the Japanese have been working with stainless steel for centuries.
Yeah.
because they make swords
Swords,
and all that, right?
knives. Yeah.
Whereas most Swiss brands at that time, they were working with gold, precious metals, gold, white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, platinum, whatever, because these are softer,
Metals.
malleable metals. So you can get like, wow, these fluid shapes.
Yeah.
But Grand Seiko or Seiko is they make watches that are accessible to everybody, man.
So it has to be.
So they don't want to use precious metal, right? So if they work stainless steel, they have to feature something that is very Japanese. And it's something called Zaratsu polishing, which is a black
Sand.
mirror polish.
Oh.
It's a polishing that is so perfect that you can read text backwards through the reflection without any ripple or distortion or whatever.
How do they do this finishing?
So it's a technique lah. There are actually very few people in the world who can do it, even today.
Wow.
So these surfaces, which are now scratched and everything, but these were kept flat planes to highlight Zaratsu polishing.
Oh, wow.
But when you have flat planes, then your watch becomes like overly angular, right? So then they balance it off with, you look at the bezel underneath the watch,
Yeah.
there's a curve.
Yeah.
So it's got this mixture of curves and angles, and look at the end of that lug.
Oh, yeah, that is also angled, huh?
It's like 7 facets in there, just in that space of 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter, like this.
Yeah.
The triangle as well.
Yeah, so this changed everything for Grand Seiko because suddenly they had a new design language. No other watch looked like this in the world.
Question on the Zaratsu Blast, the polishing, is it the one where you see lines, or is
No,
it
that's brushing.
That's brushing, but the shine is basically what
The
you're
shine,
saying.
yeah.
Ah.
When it was new, it would have been perfect. Lah.
Oh, actually, yeah, wait, I can see the reflection of our lighting up there
Yeah.
also on the watch. If you look really closely, you can even see the reflection of the light up there.
Yeah.
So now
mad, huh?
they had accurate movements and they had a new design language. And this set the tone for Grand Seiko all the way until today. So this was not the first watch that had grammar of design, but this is the one I like the most because it's the thinnest, it's the most pure to me of that expression of Zaratsu, grammar of design. If I look at this watch and I hold it in hand and I have it on the wrist, to me it feels like origami.
Oh, yeah, it does give off that
feels
vibe
like
a bit.
somebody folded this with sheet metal rather than forged or whatever.
But
So-
but Grand Seikos are usually also mass manufactured compared to like
They all
the-
are, yeah. They are.
It's just
I mean,
that
the
the technique
polishing, the polishing partly done by hand.
Oh.
So you have to know how to look at the serial number to know which year it was produced. So
Oh.
that's why he's so attached to this watch because it was produced at the year he was born.
But I'll sell it if I don't.
And the straps as well, it comes with the watch.
No, the straps
I
are
think.
custom. We make our own. We make custom straps through strap makers.
I see. Because I was like, this is not very Seiko-esque. Like, if you ask me, Seiko
Yeah,
normally
yeah.
is very steel.
Stiff and
Yeah, a little bit. But I gotta say though, the strap does match the face. I have to say, I only when I held it up close, I'm like, oh, it doesn't really look
we
like.
try to lah because like we've made so many mistakes in straps. We kind of know what we like and what works and what doesn't.
I see.
So
Interesting.
So just imagine it's only one watch and you have so much story,
Yeah.
history. Like you say,
That's already summarized.
yeah.
Yeah.
And where we are throwing away the part where it just tells time. We are putting that apart first,
Yeah.
away. Then when you look at the design language and what happened and how the watch was being made,
Yeah, I mean,
It's
you can
endless,
take
yeah.
you can take pretty much any Grand Seiko today and trace back the origin to this watch.
Wow. That's crazy.
In terms of the design language, it came from somewhere.
Would be
Came from
nice
there.
if diamond rings are sold like this too,
Hey, there are people who buy watches instead of diamond rings now, bro.
But that's the thing about watches that I feel are unique, is that it's an object that has so much story behind it, and the story exists because it's a high involvement product. When you wear a watch, when you buy a watch, it is an expression of you. In many cases, it's how you want the world to see you, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
what you want to transmit, and so you invest effort to look for something that
Is you.
feels you,
That is true.
right? So the last thing the industry should do is sell these watches like they are not high involvement and
Because-
high touch.
Because almost every one of these watches are also high involvement, right?
Yeah, they all have stories. I mean, some more interesting or more illustrious stories than others, but they all have stories nevertheless.
No, it depends on whether it's relatable to you also, lah, right?
Yeah.
True.
But a question, right? So when you purchase all these watches, right? There is this perception that it has to come with the box also, because I know a lot of watch owners, they always ask about
Box
whether
and
it comes
papers.
with the box and the papers. So what is the process like with a lot of these second-hand watches? Because I feel like the value is only there if you want to resell, like our friend here that is not very sentimental, right? You want to sell it for the best possible price and it's going to be just going through you. Do people ask about boxes and papers?
Always.
Always,
I would say always. Because that's the misconception. The misconception is box and papers is better. Regardless whether you're going to sell it or whether you're going to keep it properly in your drawer, even if you do not understand what the watch is and how significant the watch is,
It's whether you got box or paper.
somehow we always start the day. Is it full set? Does it come with the original receipt? Does it come with the
Receipt also keep, bro.
very
What
possible,
the
yeah.
shit?
Yeah, but that is something we are also trying to
Incorporate into the.
educate as well. Because what's important is the watch and its condition.
Mm.
Yeah, some watches they are just so rare that nobody in this world has kept the papers and
Yeah,
box. And there is also a lot of cases of dodgy dealings. You can actually buy them separately and combine together, and you mark the prices way up
Oh,
high.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, like I'm not. For me, I'm not very familiar with Rolexes, but in the Rolex world, you know, the mumbo jumbo stuff is all over the place.
Fucker, they buy a separate.
He knows more. He will talk more about mixing.
They
box and
mix
papers.
the box and the papers on. Fucker, that people where
I
gonna
mean,
read the
there's
papers on? Nobody
like-
reads the papers, bro.
There are even people who fake the papers.
Wow.
So, like, if you think about, people are worried that, oh, if I buy an expensive watch and it has no box and papers, then I feel like, oh, maybe it's not legit.
Yeah.
But you think about it, is it easier to fake the watch or to fake the papers?
Wow, true lah.
Right? What's
true lah.
more important is the watch. Not just because you don't wear your box and papers, you wear the watch. Not just because of that, but because the watch is the one that carries most of the value. But a lot of dealers will tell you, oh, if you have the box and papers, value go up 30%. Man.
Which is not untrue. It is true.
untrue.
True what? No.
It is
if,
untrue.
if you have the box and
Maybe
papers,
it goes up 10%. The rest of the 20% is the dealer's way of making a
making
profit.
some-
Not
yeah,
earning
yeah,
a profit. Making a profit.
But I
You know
would
what
assume that anything that you want to buy, you want it to be like, handed on to you better, right? Hence the box and the papers.
Usually, have you seen like vintage boxes or even like 10-year-old watch boxes?
No, I've not.
They-
It's like fucked
They're
already,
so
bro.
integrated
disgusting.
and
It's
all that.
fucked
It's
already,
not the best presentation
It's
experience.
flaky.
Maybe
It's
Andrew can
sticky.
put up some pictures of boxes. Or
old boxes old Rolex boxes It's quite
Any
tough, bro.
boxes. Actually, Rolex boxes are pretty good. Any other brand, let's say
Cartier boxes are shit.
Cartier
The
boxes,
red ones, right?
Tag
Yeah.
Heuer boxes.
It gets flaky,
whatever.
yeah, it gets
You don't
flaky.
even have to wait 20 years, bro.
Oh man. Then it's just a whole fuck fest you're carrying around lah, technically. Then
Yeah,
you
so-
display it somewhere.
So no doubt, if you have box and papers, the value does go up.
Yeah.
However, that's not the most important thing. If you gave me a choice of a really good condition watch without box and papers
Of course I'll take the watch lah.
and one with like box and papers but the condition is not as good, I'll take the one without box and papers.
Yeah.
Rolex
I mean,
watches,
you're wearing it.
yeah.
You're not wearing the box, right? What the fuck?
A Rolex boxes is very good condition, so this is not a very good example.
Yeah. Tag Heuer,
Research.
Tag
Oh,
Heuer,
Tag
IWC.
Oh, IWC quite bad.
Yeah.
Because they use fake leather.
No, not the watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean the boxes.
Box, yeah.
Anything that uses faux leather will
Oh, yeah lor.
crumble.
looks nicer.
Ah. But do you think the watch cost would drop if the box was shit?
No.
Wouldn't, right?
No.
That means,
Because you have it.
so fucking weird.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Then
to
why the
me,
hell
lah,
you still
if
care about the box? You could
If
just
you ask me, okay, box and papers,
This is a good one.
the paper is more important than the box.
oh, is it?
Yeah, because the paper,
It's the serial number.
this,
if it is, yes, correct.
Ah,
yeah.
If you
see
have,
the-
oh yeah.
it starts to fall apart and all that.
Ooh, like
I mean,
tire.
if you have the papers and assuming it's legit lah, you may have the name of the retailer.
Oh,
that
wow.
Originally sold it because their stamp may be there, serial number is there and all that. And to me, that's provenance. It's you know where the watch has been. Of course, you don't know all the in between, whether the fella wore it in Nigeria, Vietnam War, whatever. You don't know.
Yeah.
But that sense of
It's a sense of security, lah. Actually, for me, lah. at
for
least I
me, it's
know.
not security. For me,
a
it's sense of history.
origin. Yeah.
The soul of the watch,
Yeah.
Like who bought this? What kind of man or woman would have bought this watch
And I
60
think
years
that's
ago?
really romantic. It's like you can put yourself in the shoes of that person and imagine, oh, what must that person
For, I
gone
mean,
through?
briefly, I'm not going to like obsess
Stalk
over
him,
it,
yeah.
but
Really jerk off
that's
to that
part
guy.
of the that's part of the history of that watch, right? And So that to me is valuable, more valuable than the box. Because you can probably find a good condition, genuine box, or a box, buy it lah online. Replace the one that's falling apart. You know? So box and papers to me not so important. Papers more important than the box in any general situation. But as I said, if without both, I don't mind lah. However, there are some cases like a watch that was worn by a particular drill sergeant or and Navy major, whatever, fought certain wars. If you got things like receipts,
No way.
because that you build a picture, the provenance of the watch. But these are usually watches that go into like six-figure
already.
territory. So not the kind of watches we are selling.
That is freaking crazy. Receipt also is mad.
Yeah. Because like, you really sort of have, it's like going to a museum, you go into a museum, you're not in the past. You're still in the present, right? But you have all of those little stimuli that make you feel like you're in the past.
Or at least
I
gives
think
you
like-
that touch of it, lah, right? Yeah.
And I think the same with watches and boxes and papers and receipts and provenance. It's about that immersion lah into the origin
Part of the story
watch.
as well.
Yeah,
But
part
it does affect the overall cost also, lah. So my assumption is that if you guys have a vintage watch and if you are trying to sell it, obviously the box, papers, and even receipt would add to that, like as you mentioned, providence to
Yes.
sell it a lot higher than what it is, lah.
Not a lot lah. Not a lot lah, if you ask me lah.
Oh,
it
is
should it should add value, but it should be reasonable lah.
I see.
Not at the kind of premiums that the market sometimes commands lah. Because I think that one is artificial lah.
I see. Are there brands or are there certain years, right, where like at that point, the watch is just it's so difficult to recover already? Because
Yes.
when I went to Nagano Broadway, I think it was like a couple of years ago, and I was on this phase, lah, right? I was just like looking, and I was like thinking, wow, I should buy. I really wanted to get a second Rolex. I was like really keen, I was like looking around. Prices still fucking crazy, lah, okay? I was looking out for a gold Rolex, right, with green face, I'm like, wow, shit, man.
Atas or not, actually.
Yeah, matas.
Shit, man, looks fucking cool, man. Then I was like, oh fuck, the price maybe not the first now, not now lah. Then I was just looking around and I saw some watches that are from the 40s, the 50s, It's like, fuck, man, this shit is like before World War, man.
Yes.
Right? But are there watches, right, that like, they say lah, and when the Japanese says it, you gotta take it with a pinch of salt lah, they tend to undersell the condition of the watch.
Yes.
Right? Which is a good thing, don't get me wrong,
yeah.
right? But they will say like things like, oh, minor scratch. If they say major, it's actually minor. If they say minor, not noticeable lah, basically lah. They just want to, But I saw this watch, Rolex, 1940 something, and there's no box on it. Then I was thinking to myself, can it even fucking work? At first,
Yeah, of course.
the investor mind in my mind was like, oh, I buy this, I keep another 20 years, it's a 100-year-old watch. Fuck, I can resell.
Amazing, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, like, can it even work?
Yeah, for sure.
Can work or not? Sure.
Yes.
Reliable.
Yes. There are watches far older than that are still working today. You talk about like bell tower watches, clocks. They're way older than wristwatches because before people were wearing wristwatches, wristwatches were always a luxury.
Yeah, because it's
Always have
portable
been and
time.
always will be, right? It's the church. Everybody listens out for the bell.
But that shit is huge.
Yeah?
That shit is huge. It's so big, like those big clocks. They're
Yeah,
huge, right?
yeah.
But a thing that's on your wrist, and especially if it's hitting that 60, 70-year-old, I'm like, wow. The building is always there. This shit, you're walking around with
Yeah,
it, you're
and you're
bumping
banging
into
into things and all
walls,
that.
and
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but are there like brands in which you can totally trust, although it's beyond the 50, 60-year-old mark, 70-year-old even? And
No
are
lah.
there,
I mean, I think
All
it's
varies,
hard
lah.
to generalize like that. Like, generally, Rolexes are really well made.
even in the past, before
Even in
World
the
War
past.
and everything?
Their movements.
Are you saying
very
like
well
are you
made.
saying like you want that watch to be preserved of its originality, including all the small little gears inside? Like if you replace the gear, then it's like it doesn't do it for you, is it?
Oh, you see, that's another question. I
Yeah,
wanna
that's
ask
another
also.
question.
Yeah. If
That's
you replace-
another.
For me, I'm
rabbit
just,
hole.
Can of
I just,
worms.
okay, so there are two reasons why I want to buy it. First of all, out of flex, I'm like, bro, look at this watch before World War, bro. That's one. Number two, I was thinking, sell, fund my kids' education. The moment it hits 2040, right? Perfect timing. You know what I mean? So I was thinking about that, but I still couldn't afford it. It's fucking expensive. But that's beside
first of
the
all,
point.
not every Rolex appreciates. So that's something that you have to bear in mind. Right? So like if you want to buy watches because you're hoping that it will appreciate, you have to know what you're doing.
I see.
But to answer your question, yes, we generally don't take anything older than the 60s. Because it can get really difficult to find parts. Not because it's unfixable or whatever, but to find parts will be very difficult for our customer in future. It's already difficult now.
Yeah, man.
Imagine like, let's say 10 years later, the guy wants to find a particular spring or gear or whatever. It'll be even more impossible, right? And also like watches before the 60s, especially like 40s and 50s, sports watches, which are watches meant for like more strenuous activity, they tend to they use radium as the luminous material.
No way. That shit, that one is cancerous one.
Yeah, and it's still radioactive today.
What? Why would they use that?
Because they didn't know better.
Yeah.
In fact, there's this
Fucking wearing cancer on your wrist, bro.
There's this story of women, right, that were employed to make watches around World War II, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Because they needed a lot of watches, right, for the servicemen. So the luminous material was radium. And the
Lume
radium
is the shit that you see in the dark so that it glows,
the
right?
one that glows in the dark. So they painted on, and they painted on with brushes. And the women in the factories, because they didn't know better, not because of evil management or whatever, they were told to lick the brush so that you get a fine point.
Oh my lord.
So you had a whole
bro.
generation of women with jaw cancer, tongue cancer, mouth cancer. Most of them died. Very few survived. A horrible death. You know, they had jaws falling off from deterioration of jawbone and things like that.
What in the fuck?
So these watches still exist, right?
No, what?
But
Woman's jaw fell off for your time, bro.
nobody is licking the loom today, lah.
Yeah, but it's still a tiny...
However, they still emit radiation. We don't buy them and we won't sell them not because of the wearer. Because if you've got a good hermetically sealed case and no particles are coming out, whatever, you're okay. The amount of radiation it produces, unless you're like, stick it to your brain 24 hours a day for the next 6 months, you're probably okay. Do you know what I mean? There is radiation, but it's not enough to kill you. However, somebody has to service the watch one day.
you have to open it.
Somebody has to open it. The watchmaker, if they are not knowledgeable, if they're not well equipped, whatever,
Oh my lord.
they're going to be breathing in that shit, right? Because a watchmaker works on a
You
watch
so
up
close, bro.
And the particles, because of the decay, they will be airborne. So we don't lah. So for two reasons, we don't take watches beyond the 60s or older than the 60s.
because of that.
Because of spare parts and
The loom.
and if they have radium, then we definitely wouldn't recommend. However, there are huge sections of the collector community that will buy radium watches.
Well, I would buy it. I would buy it and seal it. That's fucking crazy. That's a fantastic story to tell. You know what I'll do? I'll clip out this part of the podcast and I'll play it there non-stop. Then everybody will be like, what the fuck? That's mad,
So
bro.
these parts, does it have to be original or it could be like, 3D
So the older, the older you get, the less likely you will find original parts,
Right.
and that's a reality, right? So it doesn't mean that the part is like completely fabricated. It just means that it may not have come from that specific unit, from that particular watch. It may have come from another specimen of that same model, or it may have come from another watch that used the same movement, right? So
I see. So it could vary lah.
they could be original parts. So let's say
But
it's
different model.
It's an Omega, right? So you need, let's say, a new hairspring for an Omega or a mainspring lah. That's far more likely. You need a new mainspring. You might find the same mainspring in another model, and you can buy that as a spare part and use that
Put it
in
into
your
that model.
watch because you couldn't find the spare part. That's okay if the watch is very old. It's not okay if your watch is 2 years old and you do that.
Yeah. But how much does it affect the market value then? If it's like, some parts are not
Yeah.
original.
In the first place, it's almost impossible to tell. if you're putting in a part that is period correct, which means that it has all the patina and the aging as though it was original to the watch. So, like unless, I don't know, you do carbon dating or something, you won't know.
For each part.
Yeah.
Just to be safe.
I mean, how far do you want to draw the line, right?
Yeah.
Because like maybe the screw not original.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So there has to be some level of
so
like
small.
give and take in terms of the older the watch, the harder it is to maintain 100% authenticity.
There are people who are purists and there are people who are not lah. I mean, that one, even the car market also, I recall.
same,
I was listening to a Joe Rogan Experience the episode, and the guy was saying how like this guy fucking
Joe
loves
Rogan's
cars.
into watches, yeah.
Yeah, he is. Cars and watches, rich fucker lah, right? Sell bought to Spotify. Why not?
Man.
Yeah.
Mechanical shit.
Yeah. So this guy, he was saying how like he loves Mustang cars and shit like that. Then there's a guy who bought a Mustang car from the 60s. And he has this whole theory, right, that Mustang cars, right, actually look really good 60s, 70s, but dropped off in the 80s because they banned drugs. So when you ban drugs, right, people don't get high anymore, right? And that's why the designs look like shit. You never see nice cars after the 80s already. It's just somewhat similar or ugly as fuck. Before that, it's like wow. Don't you think like you see cars and you can Google it lah. You can search right 1979 Mustang, right? You see 1980 Mustang, damn different, right? It's like you know that guy just stopped taking drugs and he's like fuck it lah. So he was saying how where do you draw the line between an original condition car and like a touched up car? Because you want to drive it, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to die also ma. So this
Actually,
guy,
that's a good analogy because in the car world, it's okay to
Strip shit.
update your car
Yeah.
with newer parts.
yeah, you don't want Bluetooth speaker, man? I want Bluetooth
But
speaker.
in the watch world, it's not.
Right.
So, but like you say, it's subjective. And I think like if you are in the vintage world, you have to be realistic.
Yeah, it's
There
tough,
are some
man.
parts that you cannot find. So what are you going to do? Therefore, have a watch that doesn't work? Or would you put another part in that is as close as possible to the
For it to work.
original, but it works? And the watch gives you another few decades of enjoyment and then next generation as well, Because that's the thing about these mechanical parts is that they are actually really, really simple. It's just the way they are put together makes a complex mechanism come to life. Individually, the parts are simple.
Yeah.
Right?
But together.
And that's why they last forever. So some of these watches, like the ones we have on the table, they are like maybe, I would say 20 to 50 years old.
20 to 50.
Yeah, I mean varying.
It's time
lah,
to pull
right?
out that FaceTime shit, bro.
So
Maybe it's time
they're
to-
like 20 to 50 years old, which are considered young.
20
as
to
far
50.
as,
That
as far as
means-
vintage watches go.
But you guys were saying how you never take under 60s, right? So anything above 60s is for now is good, lah. But because
Yeah, because you
moving
can still
times also.
find parts, they are better constructed because by then you had
Stability in the economy also probably. Then
you had
everything's-
more machines
Yeah.
to help men to make watches, right? Men and women.
You can talk about this. This
Sure.
one actually jumps through the leap year. It skips
Oh,
the leap year for you.
shit.
And he
What?
can tell you about
Yeah,
it.
so that's basically it's mechanical. There's no batteries, whatever.
Wait. So like it knows when it's 28th
It knows
February.
when it's a leap year.
What in the fuck?
It knows the difference between 30 days in November and 31 days
sorry,
in December.
December. Wow. Even the months are like
Yeah.
November,
I
December.
mean, once you set it, provided the watch doesn't stop, if you
Yeah,
wear
yeah,
it,
yeah.
it will keep running.
Is it on automatic?
It's an automatic.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's,
Oh, it
it's
is.
called a perpetual calendar.
Bro, it's a fucking AP. No wonder lah, dude.
No, you have, it's not the brand. It's, you have perpetual calendars across all brands. Almost all brands. Because they're difficult to make. They're
How many
very, very
Perodua Bezas
complicated.
is this cost?
How much does a Kalisa cost?
Three.
2 or 3
Three.
Bezas.
Yeah, 3 Bezos.
run in 15 minutes.
Or
Oh,
maybe
no
4.
worries, bro. 4 Bezas.
But this one has another interesting story.
Yeah, it's so
I don't know if we want to get into
Please,
it. Because,
he's got 15 minutes, but I can stay on. It's all right. Go for it.
So you've heard of Audemars Piguet, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, they well known for the Royal Oaks because that's like flex machine and people wear.
Flex machine, okay.
People wear Royal Oaks because they want
Yeah.
to show that they have money, right? The Royal Oak actually is a very recent thing in AP history. AP has been around since again the 18 something.
Yeah.
Okay. They used to make pocket watches like all
Other
heritage brands did. And they have always been like a watchmaker for high-end clientele. So when they started making wristwatches, a lot of the wristwatches were they were actually like once-offs.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, so like royalty, VIPs, whatever, they ask them to design a watch for them. So they'll design a watch for them, make it once off and so on, right? Then the 70s hit. And the 70s is when quartz technology came into it. Electronic timekeeping, basically, right? Which could be done cheap, which was far more accurate than anything mechanical.
Yep.
And Seiko was killing the entire Swiss watch industry. The Swiss watch industry actually shrunk by 60%.
60%? Wow, Japanese then brutal.
Yeah. And for the most part, a lot of the Swiss watchmaking industry thought this is it.
Yeah.
This is how it ends. Right? And for many, it did end.
Yeah. All the smaller brands
Yeah.
probably.
And so all the Swiss brands, no, even some big brands like Universal Genève and all that, they died.
Oh, shoot.
So all the Swiss brands were like, okay, we need to do this shit as well. So they started developing their quartz movements and all that to try and compete, right? But the Swiss brands have always been luxury brands, luxury watchmaking. So they tried to make quartz luxurious and still expensive, right? And that was really like the nail in the coffin for a lot of them. However, one brand, which is AP, is credited for kind of saving the Swiss watchmaking industry, the luxury aspect of Swiss watchmaking. Because in 1972, if I'm not mistaken, when everybody around them, all their neighbors were crumbling from the quartz crisis, or the Japanese would call it the quartz revolution. The Swiss call it the quartz crisis. I mean, like, it was decimated, the industry, right? They did the impossible. They said, we're going to make, they've always made precious metal watches.
Yeah.
They said, we're going to make a steel watch. And I know we don't make sports watches, but we'll make a sports watch. We'll make it in steel, and we'll make it so complicated to make that we'll be able to charge more than any of the precious metal watches that we make.
And it's steel, it's not precious metal.
Time only.
Wow.
So they called one guy who is a watch designer. His name is Gerald Genta, who designed the design in one evening.
One evening.
That's the Royal Oak.
Damn.
So the Royal Oak was something the industry had never seen before, coming from a Swiss luxury watchmaker that only worked with precious metals and only made fine, elegant dress watches. Here was something industrial, time only, no complications, no
Steel
perpetual calendar or whatever, in steel.
Yeah.
And it was more expensive than anything anything else that they produced, because it was so complicated to make the fine details of the finishing, blah, blah. Okay. So the Royal Oak, which everybody knows, is credited with saving AP.
That's the
Actually,
model,
it's not. Actually, it is this watch.
Oh, shoot.
So the Royal Oak saved AP, the brand, because then everybody took notice. What the shit is this?
Yeah.
It's more expensive than a Rolex Submariner. It's more expensive than some Patek Philippe.
Wow.
It's more expensive than all their other own complicated precious metal watches. So the world took notice, right? And it is a great watch. It's iconic, blah blah. But it didn't catch on immediately. You know, it's like things that
Gradual.
are very.
That time where got news so fast also, it takes time for things to move.
I think it spread It spread very fast like wildfire because it was just so out there.
But wildfire that time is still months compared to now.
Yeah, months
Right.
But also, not everybody bought
Luxury
immediately
watches. Yeah,
because
that's
they
true.
took notice. You know, it's like it saved the brand and you know how this is, right? It's brand awareness, brand buzz, all the rest of that. It did wonders for AP. But the one that saved them financially and prevented the company from shutting down is this watch. Because when the world around them was going quartz, they said, we're going to go back to our roots and we're going to make the most complicated perpetual calendar, and it'll be the thinnest automatic perpetual calendar.
Crazy.
And we'll make it in precious metal when all our competitors are doing quartz.
That's fucking crazy.
That's audacious,
insane.
right? It's ballsy as hell. And that's the watch.
And the guy did it in one evening.
No,
different story.
that's the Royal Oak.
Oh, that's the Royal Oak. But
So
then,
Royal Oak saved the brand. This saved the company's finances.
That's
Because
mad.
this sold so well, they managed to capture the reality that a lot of people said, oh, I can get a watch for so cheap now and so accurate if I go Japanese. But then there were also people who appreciated that fine watchmaking is separate from accurate
Yeah, yeah.
timekeeping.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the perpetual calendar. It was audacious as hell, and the crazy thing about it is that this particular perpetual calendar, which is the 5548, almost never happened because it was three rebel employees within AP who got together in the evenings at night when they were hearing that the company was going to go quartz. They got together and said, we are going to build the world's thinnest perpetual calendar, which is like one of the most complicated complications in the world. And they did it at night on their own time. And then they presented it to the CEO. And luckily, the CEO didn't say no.
Wow.
The CEO had the balls to say, let's do it.
What the fuck?
And it saved the company. It saved the company and it saved the industry. Today, when you think about Swiss watchmaking, it's luxury watchmaking, right? Fine watchmaking, right? Wouldn't have happened if not for this watch.
Those three guys OT.
They
That's
OT.
mad, bro. Swiss people
Literally
never
at
OT,
night.
bro.
At night, they got together in secret and designed the movement.
You gotta think
Impossible.
about it, they're working with candles, man, no lights.
Yeah, bro. Nowadays you ask
No
a
lah,
Swiss,
1980s, bro.
1980s, okay.
still got
1980s.
but light bulb, filament. Kind.
No, sorry, 1970s.
Nowadays you can't even find a Swiss guy work beyond 5 p.m, bro. Let alone revolutionize an industry, lah.
So do you guys have better appreciation?
I definitely
after
do.
hearing all
I
this?
definitely do.
Yeah.
Vincent, you got a chow in a bit,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I got a chow. Right?
I will FaceTime and then maybe we go through all the watches one time since you guys
If
have-
you want to.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, we're happy to just talk to you without the watches as well.
I
Okay,
got
guys, I gotta make a move.
All right,
Go for
see
it,
you,
man.
man. See you.
okay.
Cheers, buddy.
This is gonna chow first. Question, right? For this watch, right? Obviously the strap also is done from your partner, lah. Not this is not an AP strap, right?
Yeah, no, that's not the original strap.
And all these watches last time is all steel strap, man.
Not necessary.
Is it? Even in the past, like because vintage watches normally by now, right? If you're going to use like leather or it's gonna be hancho, man. It's gonna be like
So vintage straps, it's also like box and papers.
oh
It's somewhat trades higher if you have the vintage
Original strap.
but it's stinky as hell.
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. It's gonna smell pretty
But
fucking
people
bad.
will still want it because it's the original strap.
They may not wear it, lah. They
Yeah.
keep it aside because it's part of that whole original
Oh,
package.
I thought like wow, smells like the 70s. I need to figure out this FaceTime shit first, but maybe we can. Or can you see what's the timestamp, Drew?
I think it's been damn
Yeah.
long.
Huh? Really?
Damn long, yeah.
You guys want to chow?
No, I'm okay. How long already has it been?
2 hours 5.
2 hours.
Okay, I'll note that. So give me a sec.
You okay?
I'm okay, I'm cool.
You okay? Maybe
As
you
long as
go
you
like
guys are.
15 more minutes each there. I want to
Sure.
go through the watches so at least like I have a brief understanding and then people can see it.
All right.
And that way at least like what kind of strap is this shit, man? What's a Cartier also?
So you're talking about the reversal, right? You have,
Oh, the Jaeger LeCoultre reversal.
but this is the masculine.
Oh shit. Damn.
It's their version of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It flips, it flips around.
And you close it.
I think this one also is similar story, right? The Cartier one, they want to put bedside, they want to put it
Yes,
up, they were
because it
competing
can
with
be a
Jaeger.
desktop.
Can be a-
Yeah.
Yeah. I always thought Cartier, right, is known as like luxury brands in terms of like bags and shit like that. Then only when my mom starts like talking about the Cartier watches, and then only when I kind of but I saw the Cartier watch in the Instagram, then I'm like, oh, actually, the Cartier watch segment is also quite unique. Then only I went into it.
In terms of the shape, it is very unique.
Only the Santos and the Ballon Bleu, square and circle.
They got so many, bro.
A lot.
I think there's more than 50 different shapes for Cartier.
50?
Yeah, at least.
I also did leg day, so my legs are a bit wobbly. Okay, how the fuck? All right. As you can tell, I'm not as tech savvy as Vincent. Reduce volume. All right. Okay.
It works.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just put on my headphones.
You've got Drew there, no?
No, it's all right because he needs to have a receiver, but it's okay. All right. We go slow, left to right because that's how we read. Maybe. What is maybe a brief summary of what all the watches are? Is that okay? What is this first one? The tag.
The first one is a Tag Heuer, but it's a reissue of a watch from the 60s. So this watch is from the 90s, but it's almost an exact replica of a watch from the 60s, which was prior to the time they became Tag Heuer, when it was just Heuer.
It was just Heuer?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Why? Why change to Tag Heuer then?
They got bought by the company Tag. Technique Avant-Garde.
Oh.
Yeah. So
wow. So this is kind of like a homage piece type of
it's
thing.
kind of like a homage to their past.
Wow.
Like a tribute to their past. But I think like the crazy thing about this is that whenever you see a vintage watch that is being reissued, they will typically say, oh, we contemporize,
Make it modern for today's
make it
man.
modern for today, right? They will change the crystal. Like this has a plastic crystal, like all vintage watches did. But they will put in a sapphire crystal. You know, they will use luminova, super luminova for the luminous material instead of like tritium, which is a safe.
What year did Tag buy over?
80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn, man.
So this was pretty crazy because remember in the 90s, Tag Heuer was like at their peak. You know, everybody and anybody had a Tag Heuer. And it was because of their F1 sponsorship.
yeah.
They revolutionized a lot of things, including things like having lap times on screen, on the TV screen during that time. So it was like their heyday, and they were already Tag Heuer, and all the brand equity was Tag Heuer. But yet, when they reissued this watch, they said, we'll make it the exact same size as the 1960s version with no modernization of the size, no modernization of the materials. And we will drop our branding. So you imagine...
Yeah, it's like not calling yourself the brand because it's now...
So like
Heuer.
your company is Tag Heuer, right? Which is owned by Tag.
In fact, everybody calls it a tag. They don't even call it a Heuer.
Correct.
It's quite crazy. To
Yeah.
drop
So
the
you
tag.
imagine like the kind of arguments that must have taken place in the boardroom for this watch to come about.
Oh,
So that's just like a brief history. It's a racing chronograph model after something from the 60s.
One of the first watches that caught my eye in my mom's collection is a Tag. It's a red strap. I don't know what it's called, but it's a rubbery red strap. And I was like, wow, so fancy, schmancy. And I don't remember the model, but I always remember my mom wearing around. And my mom is a very colorful person. She likes to color match. So she'll wear like a red dress, red tag, red shoes, and just walk around. Don't you think? That's so mom, right? Like to color code.
And Drew is like...
It's true. Remember last time she had a yellow watch also? Yeah, yellow strap watch. It's like it's so bulky. I forgot what it was, but it's a flip watch as well. So it's like both sides also tell the time. I forgot what brand it was.
Rotary,
Is it?
possibly. If you're talking about being very fat, bulky, and it flips, there's a brand. There's a Swiss brand called Rotary, which could be.
Yeah, sounds. Yeah, my mom also is a big fan of Swiss watches. So, all right. What about this one over here? It says Seiko. Oh,
Seiko
damn.
Dolce.
Dolce like sweet.
Yes.
Look at that face. Damn.
From the 80s, this was like when Seiko was so confident that they had dominated the world with quartz technology. They started to make all sorts of different things. It's one of the, I think, my favorite periods for quartz Seikos in the 80s, right? They were so experimental. They used all sorts of different materials, all sorts of different
This
dials.
is pearl.
all sorts of different.
Opal, is it opal?
No, it's not. It's not a natural stone. I don't know what this is. It's just got a snowflake.
Some Seiko Dow technology from the 80s.
Yeah.
So if you were to look through all the Dolce series, all the dolls are very unique.
Yes.
Oh, is it?
And this is the one which started the business.
Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding.
It is,
You're
yeah.
never going to sell this,
Nah.
Denson. This
No, this is my watch.
This is his.
Oh,
this
then
is-
you're definitely going to sell
This
this.
is my watch. And I think like you were inspired when you saw this watch, right? And so my first vintage comes from centers around
this
or
specific model as well.
started from this model.
specific model.
I okay, this is a bit of a sidetrack, but is it true that the smaller the watch face, the less it costs or the less value it is? No, because my mom has this perception that, hey, don't buy girl watch, cannot sell one in the future. So always buy the guy watch. So she
Okay,
never...
but there's partial truth in that.
Oh,
ladies watches generally don't retain value as well as men's watches because the watch market is primarily male.
male. Yeah. Well, I suppose you're never going to watch the FIFA World Cup, the female one also.
The size of the watch does not have an implication on the
value of
price.
it.
Unless it's a gold watch, then you can argue
for
and
gold
say it's got less gold, more gold. But nobody buys a watch based on the weight of the
Quantity
gold,
of the gold,
anyway. Right?
You're not going to
It's
melt
all
that
the other
watch.
things. Yeah.
That's true. What about this
It's one of my
over
favorite.
here?
This is a Veteran Squillet.
Wait, what?
A Veteran.
Like VC?
Yeah, it's a VC.
What in the fuck, dude? How many houses is this? How many condos is
No,
this?
this is not
it's
that
not.
expensive.
One Beza.
Oh, one Beza. Not bad. It's gonna fuck me up hard only a while.
Yeah, it's fully hand engraved. It's skeletonized.
Fully hand engraved, like all the...
all the bridges. You see all the.
Oh, damn. Look at that.
So it's one of the. This is the one which I got it on my first holiday trip with the kids.
In Japan?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love how the serial number is on the side. It's not even...
Okay, now your serial number is there for the world to see.
Are you not allowed to show?
No lah, it's okay lah.
okay.
We're
I
not
mean-
anybody famous, don't worry.
It's see-through.
It is yes.
Yes.
That's why it's a skeleton.
Oh, crap. That is insane.
So this is a
It's so thin.
80s piece. Funny story, when I wanted to buy this watch, my credit card was declined 3 times.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so I had to tell the Japanese guy. I said I had to come back the next day. When I came back the next day, the card was still declined. And I told him, you still have to keep the watch for me for another day. So I came back the 3rd day.
And then can.
I only can.
You know, on the side topic, I bought a PSA 10 Charizard card. It's not as much as a watch, obviously, but my credit card was declined. And I paid in cash. I'm like, fuck it, man. So I can understand.
How much
How
is
many
it?
Beza?
No lah, not a Beza lah. It's like 600-700 ringgit only lah.
That's
But I paid in cash lah. So it was my whole wallet that time. I'm like, fuck, man. All my Japanese yen gone lah that time. Yeah. What about this one over here?
That's a Jaeger LeCoultre.
Oh my god. This is a Jaeger LeCoultre.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. This is such a unique...
So this watch inspired Denson to start the business. Right?
This one over here, the
Then
Seiko.
when he got this watch, it inspired me to buy this watch.
Yeah, we are rachun. Yeah, we rachun each other every day.
Is
Actually, they're the
Yeah.
same base caliber. If you
Same
look,
base
Yeah,
caliber.
if you look closely, there is a lot of similarities.
yeah, they're both see-through, that's for sure.
It's the same architecture.
Yeah, the architecture is the same. Like where the jewels are, where the mainspring and the main barrel is, they are all in the same place. If you've noticed, just that
Yeah.
it's made differently, it's engraved differently because
Yeah, the
it's-
positioning is,
Yep, the
is
position-
almost
positioning is similar.
identical.
Yeah, the architecture is the same. It's probably the same caliber, but this is the most recent purchase for me.
This one.
The Jaeger. The nothing is known about this watch.
What? What do you mean?
There is no information about it online.
What?
It has only appeared one other time
This Jaeger.
on the internet. Yes.
Huh.
The other unit has what looks like a replaced barrel. You know that big circular part in the front.
Yeah.
It's not engraved, so likely that was a replacement, not original.
Oh, wow.
It does not say Jaeger LeCoultre on the glass.
It does not. I was going to say that. It's
No,
quite
this one
strange.
does. On the glass
The
in
glass?
the front.
Oh, shit. I just saw it. It's like a
Yeah.
black text. It's so hard. It's so difficult.
So
It's-
This particular unit is signed. We call this signed.
What does signed mean?
That means the brand put its signature there, essentially.
Oh, okay.
So it's signed JLC. The only other one I have found online is not signed. So that glass probably replaced.
Oh.
Nobody knows anything about it. And I just had to get it because, first of all, I like the way it looks. I like the way it wears. I like the shape of the watch and so on. And also, I like the fact that it's quite legible because, typically skeleton watches without dials,
It's quite hard to see what
it's
brand.
quite hard to see the hands.
Oh,
and
yeah, that's
where the
true.
hands
It
are
is
pointing
difficult to see
right?
what time
But-
it is also. But this is quite thick, the black dials, right?
Yes, but also the movement is not see-through. So it's not an actual skeleton. It's just an engraved movement.
Wow.
However, the
that's-
case is skeleton. So the movement is held in place by those 12 things that stick out at the side.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's how you tell the hour, right?
And they also become the indices, which I think is quite clever.
Yeah.
But yes, this one is going back to JLC. It's going back to Switzerland next month.
Oh shit, are you making a trip or?
No, I'm going to send it there
Ah.
because they have expressed interest to ask me to send it in so that they can find out more about it because I want to know more about it. So it's possible that maybe this was a super limited production done in very small numbers. It may even have been a special order for special clients.
How did you, if you don't
I bought
mind
it from a
asking?
dealer in Hong Kong.
Oh.
So I'm quite excited about this watch because so little is known about it. And I like to know about watches. So it is like the complete opposite. Don't know anything about it, but
You
buy
go
it
in
anyway.
balls deep to find out.
Yeah. So I'm sending it back to JLC next month and hopefully come back with an interesting story.
This didn't come with this strap, obviously. It came with another strap.
No. None of the straps are.
So you just purchased the watch piece and not the strap sometimes?
No,
or?
it comes with a strap. It's just that we
Shite strap
generally don't like any of the straps that these watches come with.
Can you just, what's the model of this watch again?
This is, okay, I have a reference number.
Oh, because I just want Andrew to Google it instead
Yeah.
of the FaceTime. I
It's
just want to see the original strap.
141.007.1.
That is incredible. How the fuck you just recall that shit? I couldn't even recall
He's a nerd.
I can't even recall my passport number, dude. Let alone my fucking watch that I like. This is ridiculous. You might want to say that again just for
141.007.1.
maybe you can switch to that, Drew, so I can have a look at that. I just want to see
Yeah, there are only
Oh,
two
wow.
occurrences of it so far.
that the black one over there.
That's the one that I bought.
Oh, that's the one you bought.
Yeah, that's the one that I have.
I gotta say, I like the strap though. The black strap.
And
is
you see
nice.
the one in the bottom right corner?
Oh.
You see the barrel is different.
Oh,
The barrel is not
yeah.
engraved. And
Yeah,
it's-
this one
and
is
the glass
engraved,
is not
huh?
signed. So these are the only two units that have ever appeared on the internet. Maybe they are out there more, just not on the internet, whatever. Maybe I will send it to JLC and it'll come back and say, sorry, it was 1 out of 20,000 that we made. Nothing special about it. Yeah, but it's still exciting. Exciting.
Wow.
And even if it comes back without much of a story, I still love it. I think it's a gorgeous watch.
I
so-
think it does look beautiful as well. Drew, do you mind just muting the FaceTime? You mute the FaceTime also because I can hear the voice. So I think we've spoken about this.
Yeah.
And then we've spoken about, was it this or this?
Yes.
Yeah, only two Cartiers left over here,
Yeah.
right?
You want to talk about the Basculon?
Please.
All right.
Which one are we talking about? This one
Muscular,
first?
yeah,
Yes.
the flippy.
Yeah, the flippy. So it's not just flip in one direction, yeah? You
Yeah,
can,
you flip.
and then you can
You
even,
can just close it. It's like a
Yeah.
reversal basically, and the original one was made by the same.
You can flip it all the way
Yeah,
around.
all
bro.
the way. Yeah.
what for?
Press it
What
down lah.
So you protect the
Yeah.
case and the dial.
Bro, this is ridiculous, mate. You're just wearing a piece of, what? Why would you do this?
Because some people
It's the
like to-
same as the reversal.
they like to do special engravings behind.
Oh,
It's an anniversary or whatever.
I
it is,
see.
So they're gonna do a special engraving.
I'm an uncultured swine. I would not know.
But there are some pieces which has an open case back. So
Wow.
on the other side, you can actually see the movement.
I've seen a Jaeger where they have unique designs as well, like
Yeah,
a picture or some
Yeah,
shit like
they
that.
paint it.
Enamel painting and all that.
I
Those
was.
are very expensive.
Oh, is it?
It is.
I was talking to my mom about getting one, and then my mom was like, "Wow, so nice," but it doesn't tell a second time zone. I'm like, At this point, right, Mom? Does it matter? Like
It
you
does,
just-
man.
Yeah.
It totally does.
I
I had
just
that
buying a
watch.
piece of artwork though. Like what is the
No, I had
function?
that watch. I had the reversal dual face.
Okay.
Is what it's called, with 2 time zones.
Two
And
time zone lah, but why would you buy the one that has no?
I'll tell you,
second time
it's like you say, if you think that I'm not sentimental, the reason why I bought that was sentimental because when my daughter moved to London, right, for her university, to have 2 time zones on my wrist means a lot to me.
It's a reminder.
It's not a practicality thing, yeah. It's just I feel a little bit closer to her when I have a second time zone.
Wow.
my wrist.
Actually, that makes I can understand the sentiment there.
Yeah.
I can understand.
But I sold that watch.
That's not very sentimental of you.
Yeah, so it's one of the most famous Cartiers ever, but it's also the piece where Cartier has been reluctant to re-release.
Oh, why?
We have no idea. Everybody
don't
is
know.
demanding it. Every
a lot
year,
of speculation.
yeah, every year people say Cartier is going to re-release the Basculin, but for the past 4 years, where
They
people
never
have
do it.
saying they don't. Yeah, so the only accessibility to the Basculin is the old
Vintage.
vintage piece. Yeah.
And what year is this?
It'll be a 2000s.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
90s
also
to 2000s,
Yeah,
we
I
crossed
also-
over the
90s,
millennium.
yeah.
I love how the adjustment is at the top and it's not at the side.
Yeah.
It is
It's actually
quite crazy.
inspired by the vintage cars when they had soft top.
Soft top.
Cabriolet.
Cabriolet.
Oh shit! Like a Porsche type of thing. Like where you open the top, that type of thing.
So the folding mechanism that's what it was inspired.
Oh.
From 1935.
Yeah, the reversal, that JLC that you're
Mm.
talking about, is very famous because the story for that, the apparent story is that it was designed for polo players. So that when they are on the horse and
They
they're playing
can
polo, they
protect.
flip it the other way around to protect the crystal and the dial.
What?
Because the back is steel, ma.
Oh.
So it was like the original sports watch.
Wow.
So that's the reversal story. A lot of people will look at this watch and say, but that's just a copy of the reversal, even though the axis upon which the flip happens is completely the opposite.
Yeah.
So a reversal flips this way, right? You slide it out.
Right and
your
left.
watch is here, you slide
Yeah.
it out, flip it over, slide it back. Whereas this one is
Upwards. Yeah.
it's longitudinally rather than laterally, right?
And it
But-
wears better.
Sorry?
And
wears better.
because
It wears
it's
better.
Slim.
I'm not a fan of slim watches. I feel like I got my wrists are not like manly enough, so I feel like
Actually,
I wear-
there's a concept to people who says that they are not used to slim and small watches. Wear it for 1 week,
Oh,
and
is
you
it?
won't, and
You
will
will
be
not
like,
go back.
you will not go
Is
back.
it?
Yes.
Is it? Maybe it's just my inferiority complex. I cannot get over the fact that I have shitty looking wrists.
No, if you think you have small wrists,
Yeah.
you should wear a smaller watch.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So then your wrist won't look too small. If you have a small wrist and you wear a huge watch,
You look like-
the
yeah,
watch
yeah,
is
yeah,
going to
yeah.
overpower your wrist, and your wrist looks like toothpicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So don't wear bigger than you need to.
My dad is a big fan of slim watches, but like I can see that, I don't know why. I just look at it and I look like my wrist is just not man enough. That's why I feel like I never wear a slim watch. But I suppose I could
If you
try.
notice, the reversal is square, right? It's a rectangular watch.
Yeah.
That was actually inspired by the Cartier Tank,
Oh, okay.
which was one of the most popular rectangular watches in the world.
And it's also slim.
And
I
it's
feel the
very
tank.
slim.
Yeah, the
right?
tank is quite slim.
So the reversal took that shape and did something really remarkable with it, which is that flip mechanism, right? And super well engineered and all the rest of that. But JLC also used to make watches for Cartier. So Cartier actually, this Basculin is actually made by the same case factory.
maker,
what
yeah.
the shit?
JLC.
All right.
And it flips it the other way around, adds the functionality of it being able to stand up like a desk clock, and does it in half the parts.
Oh, wow. Damn.
And is half the height,
half the height.
half the
thickness.
slimness.
Oh. Yeah, the Jaeger is kind of thick. Actually, that's true.
Yeah.
But I don't know lah. To me, right, I feel like it's just dainty lah. Is this like a male / female, or is this
Wear
like
it for 1
unisex?
week. and
it?
you find perfect.
How many bezas is this? 3.
Half.
Half
One
of it. 1/3 of a beza.
1/3.
That's mad lah. Crazy. I say like I can afford 5 bezas, but I can't even afford
But you
one.
know,
up
like, it's
front, Mad lah.
no doubt watches are expensive, right? And let's be real, watches are something you only buy if you have access,
Yeah.
right? Because otherwise, who bloody needs the time? You've got your phone,
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
got $20 Casio that you
Yeah.
can get and so on. However, you bear in mind that if you spend, let's say, 15K on a watch versus 15K on a car,
Yeah.
an old beat up Beza or whatever, the Beza is going to continue to cost you money.
The watch is gonna earn you money the longer.
It may not earn you money, but it's going to retain money.
Yeah.
And the watch, I mean, other than maybe servicing it once every 5 to 10 years, which will cost you a few hundred to 1,000 plus.
Yeah.
What's your road tax, insurance?
It builds.
All the rest of that on the car. So
obviously, this is an investor mindset, lah. This is not a art appreciation mindset, right? If you go in with an art appreciation mindset or story appreciation mindset, you go in with a very different mindset. I think you're going to appreciate it no matter what. Also, you're going to sell it. Also
no, I mean, like for me, the value of the watch is very important. I will not deny
Is it?
Yeah,
I would
because
say that. I mean, you were saying, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's not unlimited funds,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I want to know that whatever I spend on a watch, I'm not going to lose my shirt on it, lah.
And it's a hobby.
Unless you really fucking love that watch, and you gotta have a damn good reason lah to be able to lose money lah. Because I know people who are willing to spend. Right?
So this is the plus point,
Yeah.
It's a hobby, but ideally you do not want to lose money in a hobby.
Yeah.
So watches is at a very fine point where if you're buying correctly,
You know you're gonna get. Yeah.
you're not gonna lose money at the hobby. Yeah.
That's true. Last piece, unless you want to talk about that one, which I actually do,
I
but
think
maybe
we
talk about.
can skip this one. This
Why,
one, it's just like a preference thing where not a lot of people were very accepting into square watches. So to maintain the Santos DNA, to sell it to a mass market where people still prefer a circular watch,
They create an octagon.
compromise, stay in the middle.
Made it a bit circular.
So they're very wishy-washy. Wow, but I like how they have the Cartier logo here though. It's quite mad, man.
Only the vintage bracelets.
No, but I feel like there's this rotation when it comes to fashion, right? People tend to go back to, or at least fashion is never out of fashion, it's just in rotation. So like you see a lot of like Rolexes now where like there's shitload of the Rolex branding on the dial, is it? It's like Rolex. It's so ugly.
Or the computer dial.
Oh, is it
But
called?
I mean, it's called computer dial.
Oh, so Uggs.
But yeah, I mean, small shaped watches are back in a big way.
Yeah?
Yeah. So watches from like the 70s, which were pretty wild in terms of shapes, and
It's the drugs, man, I'm telling you.
they're back.
The drugs. Holy shit, this is fucking Japanese, dude. I know this is Chinese lah,
Yeah.
but I've seen this on a Japan website before. And that's why I thought like, what fuck, it's Japanese. Then my wife told me like, it's the same like.
This is the only piece in the world.
What?
Yeah. So this was specially made for me by Cartier.
You fucking with me, right?
No, I'm not.
No. Cartier has a program called NSO, where they are top, most loyal.
Not in terms of
their
spending.
biggest, not in terms of spending. Their biggest fans of Cartier. You can design a watch,
No fucking way.
and they'll make it for you. So
They put
this
your
is a
name on it?
custom design for Denson.
The fuck?
So,
What the fuck? Are you fucking serious?
so what's shown behind the engraving is actually the story of this watch is, like I say, I'm very sentimental. So this watch is supposed to be a graduation watch for my daughter in the future.
No fucking
So
way.
the characteristic in the engraving are characteristic I want my daughter to grow up with.
Decisive, loving, caring,
Yeah,
sweet, joyful.
But the reason why these are the ones is because all the starting alphabets of the characteristics is the starting name of my family member. So I'm Denson, so I did decisive. So my wife is LG, so she chose loving.
Oh.
My aunt is Celine, so she chose caring. Yeah, so on and so on.
What in the hell, bro?
So this is a legit sentimental watch which I cannot sell.
And this is like, out of all of Denson's watches, this is my favorite.
This is a beautiful watch also.
so I chose Chinese characters. I did there's a small rose in the middle. You
There's a
the
small what?
There's a rosette. We call it rosette. There's a rose in the middle of the
Oh
dial.
shit! You're right.
Yeah.
The pattern of the
Yes,
freaking
and
thing.
there's a good-
Oh
yeah, that's why
my
I call
lord!
brioche.
You gotta
Yeah.
clean that shit,
Yeah.
man.
Okay, sorry. I didn't see that properly. No, he wiped it just before he passed it, so I assumed that it was.
Yeah, so you have all the
Holy
only
shit!
under the lighting you can see the rose. If not, it looks like a blue dial to you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god, you
the-
really gotta really like look at it real hard.
so-
I'm trying my best with this phone, but
Yeah, so
you
this
can see
is,
the ribbed blue
Yeah,
lines.
so a lot of people they ask me actually, did you intentionally choose the rose to be lighter blue? But that's not true.
It's just the way it catches
Just
the
the
light.
way it catches the light, that it looks lighter than the dial.
That is fucking bananas.
So this is like a one of one lah. This one.
So you meant
In
to,
fact, it says number 1 at the
Yeah,
back.
it
right?
says number one. Yeah,
this is the wait what?
You look at it.
yeah it's a 1/2023 or
1
2022
slash
slash.
one.
Yeah,
That is so crazy.
yeah, so it's
Thank fuck you see this watch last lah, bro. It's gonna make the others look like
no, but this is modern, so it's different.
No, man,
yeah.
but the sentiment here is madness,
so are we
bro.
jumping back to how important sentiments are?
This is wild. This is so wild. My God. Well, how
I
was
cannot make a watch like that because I will sell it.
how sorry, I know we're running a
Yeah,
bit.
a quick one. Yeah, no
Yeah,
worries.
but I just want to ask also, how did Cartier know? How did Cartier contact you? And how was the design process like?
All right, so it's more of sharing Cartier content on Instagram and social media.
Okay.
Yeah, so you share, you start posting about stuff, you're writing about them.
Hey, can you just like tag them in this podcast, bro? Then you fucking get me a watch as well. What the fuck? Okay, then.
Yeah, so they would just one day they will approach you and they say, hey, actually, we appreciate what you've been sharing for the brand. Do you want to do a special program, a special order?
Oh.
So you can choose the shape. So for me, I chose the cloche,
yeah.
which is the bell shape. Then there are some parameters to how the dial can work. So, you cannot say you want a funky green dial, a light green dial because it doesn't match the Cartier DNA.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
whatever you design has to
This has to be on brand lah.
be vetted by some heritage director. As they say lah, you don't know who is behind the screen vetting your design. So for me, I was very clear. I say I wanted it to be in Chinese characters.
Yeah.
So we were deciding, do we do like 1 to 12 or do I just do 3, 6, 9, 12? In the end, I went with a simpler one lah. Yeah. Then there's a few very, very Cartier DNA stuff, which is the rose and the pattern which you see, the guilloche.
It is very Cartier.
Yeah, so those two, I wanted it. And the next was like, what is the color? Do you want to do very traditional Cartier, which is white?
White, yeah.
I say, hey, fuck it. I say, this is a one in a lifetime opportunity to do your one watch by the brand. So I say, fuck, do blue.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did out. That's what I turned out to be.
I have to say also, I think it's a very wearable color. So
It is.
I think white dials, to me at least, it was maybe only 5-6 years ago, I really thought like, wow, actually a white dial looks so nice. I used to be always dark dials.
Yeah.
I'm a very I don't like to be too flashy. I was just joking with my wife last night because I always take photos and I always wear a t-shirt. I always wear black t-shirts. Like, yeah, you fucking Control C, Control V. Every day you wear the same shit only. Right? And that's because I don't like to wear too fancy stuff. I think this dial is so easy to pair with so many things as well.
Yeah,
Casual or
so
formal.
It's very nice that, from far, it looks like just blue.
Yeah.
Only when you look at it, you say, hey, got pattern.
There is subtle
Yes,
pattern.
subtle
and
patterns, yeah. But
In fact,
initially, I was
some
very...
light, it looks black also.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
black in some angles as well.
Is it-
Initially, I was like, Chinese ma, I want it to be as poppy as I can, like very pop one.
Get the most value.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
bang for
Jesus.
bucks.
when I got the watch, when I opened the box, I said, hey, where's the pattern? Cannot see anything one. I say, why is it only blue? But only when you went out, you see, wow, then you slowly...
The
appreciate-
subtle, the
the low keyness, like, wow, I love it. That's why you have the story behind like
The man has good taste.
That is
as long as he vouch for my design, I think I'm safe.
Wow, that's crazy,
So
bro.
it's a nice piece lah, nice piece within the...
I know this is sort of related as well, but how many years have you been a content creator, quote unquote, for watches then?
I think they're around the same, 3, 4.
3-4 years. And immediately after that, Cartier is just like, take notice of your...
It was also at a time where they wanted to concentrate more on watches.
I see.
Because, previously you were saying that they were more of a jewelry
Yeah,
brand, they were more about bags.
The perception was there.
So
Yeah.
2 years ago, they said, all right, we are a real watchmaker. We should really reach out to the community and, make this a concrete thing.
Yeah.
But we also have to keep it real.
Yeah.
You are a Cartier customer.
I'm a client as well,
Yeah.
He has bought other Cartier. He may not be the
Biggest,
most,
yeah.
I'm not like
bought the most, but
T20 of Cartiers or whatever it is, but obviously, I can openly tell, I bought a wedding ring from Cartier.
Wow.
I got my then girlfriend, just the cheapest cheapest tank in the store. Yeah, so all those very, very small purchases.
There's an appreciation for it, for the
yeah.
brand. La.
Yeah, rather than if you're looking to some other brands, they might be asking you to spend like 7 figures
That's
to
mad.
get a custom watch.
That's
So I
fucking
I was
mad.
very lucky that I wasn't in a position where I had to spend like
7 figures on
or
a
even
on
6,
multiple.
Correct, yeah.
Wow,
So,
that's.
so I cannot sell this one, but he should sell.
I mean, you don't
This
know
one,
that.
no lah. This
No.
one you cannot sell.
But that's,
How would you sell this to someone?
I can't, yeah.
How would you sell it?
Because
There's no way.
I've made it very, very personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way I can sell it.
You've made it physically personal
Yeah,
as well.
physically,
So
yeah.
I
So
don't think
actually,
you should sell it.
there's a running joke inside. So I said, they gave me this watch, I only had one kid. So I just verbally tell them, hey, where my wife
second kid.
pregnant again, you better give me a second
Oh
one.
my lord, lah, this guy.
Then 3 months later, my wife pregnant.
Oh shit.
So that's why I texted lady. I said, hey, remember what you verbally promised me?
I suppose time will tell. La.
Yeah,
When
time will tell
you
lah.
get a second one,
Yeah,
that'll
who
be
knows lah,
crazy.
Who knows, yeah.
No, he's already got 2 kids, so like you have to have your second in it. So
At this point, right, I'll be churning out kids with my wife, bro. Fucker, I get a whole collection.
no,
lah,
it
dude.
gets very expensive.
That's,
So
yeah,
no.
it gets expensive. ah.
Okay. I mean, I think I've learned so much as well, from you guys. Links will all be in the description below in the YouTube channel and the Spotify vid. But I want to end the podcast with what's your next target for watch? Like, what's your next model? And then I just want to see where the taste is going in that direction, if you will. Because for me, I'm quite removed, right, from this entire industry of watches. But I want to know what is a watch that you guys are aiming for, so I can kind of understand like where the taste is heading.
I think there is no.
It's
There is
really-
I don't know, man. You know,
pinpoint target. There is no pinpoint target really.
It's not, but
Yeah.
somehow when you do tell me like what you're aiming for, I can kind of understand where it's going. Like, this is just personal. Is there a next watch you're aiming for?
No, honestly, no,
Nothing.
nothing.
Even you go to Japan also.
But you have things you want, obviously. But you have family commitments. You have
Yeah. Life.
life commitments, basically, that you feel satisfied just looking at someone else who has it. And they're gonna share it with you during lunch or dinner. You feel the satisfaction like, wow, this is real watchmaking.
Yeah.
The finishing is amazing. The polish is so amazing. From there you get the satisfaction. You don't specifically need to own the watch.
You can appreciate from
Yeah, I can
afar.
appreciate. Because some watches, honestly, in terms of price, it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, man.
Yeah, you can't throw.
Like an AP, like PP.
Yeah, like a
a day.
6-figure. Yeah, in ours, like you said, we don't have bottomless pits.
I would
Yeah.
buy multiple trips to Japan. I would buy an IKEA in Japan. That's what I would do. That's my goal, I feel.
But no, like if you're asking if there is like a specific piece that I die, I have to buy it by next year, by next 2 years, there isn't any piece.
Okay. What about you, Weng Keong? Do you have any other model?
I mean,
in
I
mind?
have like many watches I admire and would love to own, but like Denson said, like at some point where, as an enthusiast, you reach a point where you understand you don't have to own
I see. You
a
can
watch
appreciate now.
to love it, right? Of course, it would be nice to have it, but it's a watch lah. It's not life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got life. Life happens, right? The watch is a nice thing that if you can afford it, then great, But if you can't, then don't. It doesn't matter, because the watch is not going to change your life. It's something that you love, appreciate. It adds to your life, adds to your appreciation for that thing, the history, the workmanship, blah blah blah. But it's not necessary to own everything.
For me,
So-
I'll straight up tell you both, man. I really want that VC like rotated, like that pilot thing. I'm like, wow, shit, man, looks damn fucking.
I know
cool.
somebody else who loves that watch as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
And I like there was this Mont Blanc watch. There was this white face, and then the cursive numbers. I forgot what is it. But
Brigade.
huh?
The brigade numbers.
Yeah, wow, damn nice. I saw this guy in Barcelona wear it. Then I was like, fuck, man, that's a damn nice watch, man. I've seen that before.
So move the Apple Watch to the right wrist and get another one.
I'm not gonna
left.
double wrist this shit. I don't know.
No, that's
way,
where
man.
smart rings come
Yeah.
into it.
Is it good?
Yeah. It takes care of all my health metrics.
Is it?
And then I don't have to wear an Apple Watch.
Steps also.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
But you can't pick up a phone call though.
No, I don't want to.
No, when I'm cycling back, because I cycle to work.
okay.
And
And you run a lot, so yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So you don't have to run with your phone.
Yeah, and then not only that, like, when I cycle back and it's raining, I call my wife with my watch and then I tell her open the gate. That's why I use it. It's really damn useful, man. Yeah, man. All right. Thanks, guys, for coming on
Thanks
today.
for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Thank you very
It's
much.
a real pleasure. And thank you for this. This was completely unnecessary, but I'll
No worries,
appreciate it
man.
as well.
Enjoy.
It's insane. Learn so much from you guys. Links are on the description. If you guys want to put any more additional links, just let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I know you guys got like an ongoing, like I saw on the stories, something like a voucher / whatever.
Oh yeah, that's just for
ended,
our
yeah.
Christmas drop.
Oh shit.
It just ended. Actually, I'm late to post content.
Oh fuck, I'm sorry. I don't want to hold
No,
you
no,
then.
no, no. It's not your
Yeah,
fault.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate learning so
cool,
much from
cool.
both of you.
Thank you so much.
Hope
Yeah,
you guys
man.
enjoy, man.
Hey, for
Thanks,
sure.
Andrew.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. All right.